A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Jerry, at Fair Oaks.
The court is called to order. I'd like to state that Captain Bogart is here merely to oversee the case and listen to testimony. This is the case of Cadet Jerry Dugan, charged with intentional malicious action. Captain Lockhart, are you ready to open for the prosecution?
Yes, sir.
Is the defense ready, Captain Radford?
Yes, sir.
Very well. Captain Lockhart, you may open for the prosecution.
Gentlemen of this court, the prosecution intends to prove the guilt of Cadet Dugan in intentionally loosening the cinch strap on the horse Splendor.
Captain Radford.
Yes, Dugan?
What'll I say if they ask me about going out to the stable? I'll have to tell the truth.
Don't you worry about that. I'll ask you the questions, and you just answer them yes or no. This is going to be a tough enough job for us, but we'll do the best we can.
But there isn't one thing in my favor. I wish now I didn't go out to see Splendor and bring him that sugar.
Shh, listen.
The witnesses I will call upon will be members of the faculty, a classmate of yours, and the school physician, Dr. Campbell.
Hey, what does he know about it?
He's just going to tell about Warren's condition.
Dr. Campbell to testify. Dr. Campbell, if you please, sir. Now, Dr. Campbell, I'd like to establish the fact that Cadet Paul Warren was hurt seriously. Will you please tell the court the extent of his injuries?
The injuries Cadet Warren suffered are bruises of the hip and right leg, a torn ligament of the right forearm, abrasions on the forehead and temple, and the multiple fracture of the right clavicle.
The clavicle injury being the worst.
Oh, yes.
That word clavicle, that's the medical term for collarbone. Am I right, Doctor?
That's right.
And would you call that a serious injury?
Yes, by all means.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell. That'll be all. You're excused.
Gee, I guess Warren was hurt pretty bad from what the doctor said.
Well, let's see who this next witness is going to be.
As my next witness, I'm going to resort to an unusual procedure by calling our chief of staff and the officer presiding over this court. If you please, Cadet Major Ted Metcalf.
Yes?
Will you tell the court the threat Cadet Dugan made in your presence?
I recall the words very clearly. He said, if I don't get to ride Splendor, no one else will.
That remark you made, Dugan, is bad.
Yeah, I know it.
Was there any other threatening language used?
No, there wasn't.
Well, that'll be all for now. Thank you. I'd like to call on Cadet Dugan's roommate at this time, Cadet Lee Phillips.
Hey, he's calling on Lee.
Don't worry about that. It's all right.
Yes, sir? Cadet Phillips, you were with Cadet Dugan when you talked with Major Metcalf day before yesterday out near the drill field. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Did you hear him make the remark Major Metcalf heard? You were right there with him. Did you hear him say it or didn't you? Yes or no?
Yes,
You were with Cadet Dugan before that meeting and after. Did you hear him say anything else about riding Splendor?
I don't think so.
Does that mean you might have?
No, sir.
Well, did he or didn't he say anything more? Answer, please, Cadet Phillips.
Well, he said he was disappointed in not getting to ride Splendor.
And did he say he was going to take matters into his own hands?
No, sir, he did not.
Have you ever heard him say anything against any cadet or against Fair Oaks? Please answer my questions, yes or no. Did you or didn't you?
Well, I don't recall that he ever said anything. No, sir.
Did Cadet Dugan have anything to say about Sergeant Alden's choice in picking Cadet Warren to ride Splendor?
No, sir, he didn't.
But he did repeat his threat that if he didn't get to ride Splendor, no one else would. Answer yes or no.
Well,
speak up. His being your roommate has nothing to do with this.
I didn't get the question, sir.
I asked you if he repeated the remark he made to Major Metcalf.
Well, we were walking over to...
I don't care what you were doing. I want you to think, and then tell me truthfully, did he or did he not repeat that threatening remark? Yes or no?
Well, I believe he did, but I wouldn't say that was a threat.
Your thoughts in the matter have no bearing on the case. Now, one more question. Your being Cadet Dugan's roommate, it's safe to assume you're on very friendly terms with him. You like him a lot, don't you, Bruce?
Objection. That question is immaterial. If it pleases this court, I'd like to say that it is safe to assume that all the cadets at Fair Oaks Military Academy are on friendly terms.
Objection sustained.
Well, let us frame the question differently. Phillips, you'd help Cadet Dugan if you could, wouldn't you?
Yes, sir, I would. But I'd help any other cadet
for me, isn't he? Yes, he is, but not so loud.
That's all, Phillips.
You're excused, Phillips, until the defense calls you. You may leave the room now.
Thank you, sir.
Gentlemen, my next witness is Sergeant Alden. Sergeant Alden, please.
Hey, Lee.
Oh, hello, Harold.
What's going on out there? Does it look like Jerry will get out of it?
No, to tell you the truth, it looks bad for Jerry. What are you doing around the corridor here?
I'm orderly for Major Metcalf today.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but I haven't got anything to do because he'll be in there all afternoon.
Wait a minute. Did you say you were orderly today?
What's the matter with your ears? Certainly, just now.
This is going to work out swell. Listen, I've got an idea. Come on, let's get out of here. Come on, Harold, hurry.
What is it? What's the idea? I'm supposed to stick around here.
Well, I'll tell you as soon as we get out of the building. Come on.
Hey, where you going?
Now, listen, you can help. We're going to be able to help Jerry. You want to, don't you?
I'll say, sure I do.
I don't think he had anything to do with loosening that saddle. I'd take his word any day.
Me too. He's too regular to do a thing like that.
All right, now get this. When they were questioning me, I got to thinking. It just came to me all of a sudden.
What?
Wait a minute. Let's see where that fellow's going.
He's heading out to the gym.
Yes, I guess he is. Well, as I said, it came to me all of a sudden. I got to thinking of our last class yesterday.
You have mechanical drawing last, don't you?
Mm-hmm, Captain Bogart's class.
Hey, wait a minute. What are we going this way for?
We're going over to Trent Hall.
Oh, no, we're not.
We've got to if we're going to help Jerry.
We're not allowed in Trent Hall. You know that.
You are.
What do you mean I am?
You're orderly. You can go any place on the campus.
Hey, that's right.
Sure. Come on now.
But you can't go into Trent Hall.
Well, I'm going to.
Oh, what if you get caught?
I've got to take that chance. You're going to help her, aren't you?
Sure, I want to help. But you might tell me what this is all about first.
All right, I will, but I just wanted to save time. We've got to hurry.
Then tell it to me quick.
Well, look, yesterday afternoon in Captain Bogart's class,
Yes?
about a half hour before we were dismissed, Red Morrison asked Captain Bogart if he could be excused. He said he felt kind of hot and thought he might have a cold coming on.
Red, huh?
Mm-hmm. He asked Captain Bogart if he could go over and see Dr. Campbell. And Captain Bogart let him go.
I think I know what's coming.
Now, don't interrupt.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I didn't think anything of it at the time. But while I was being questioned in the court-martial, I figured it out.
Figured what out?
I figured Red might want to loosen that saddle and have Warren get hurt, thinking that maybe then he would get to ride Splendor. And probably for no more reason than to get Jerry's goat.
Hey, that might be
Sure, it's a possibility, and a good one. You see, it all fits in. Red got excused from class so he could go out to the stable and do his dirty work, and then get back so he wouldn't be noticed.
But how about going to the doctor's?
Oh, that wouldn't take long. And besides, he could stop off at the infirmary on the way out to the stable.
I think you've got something there.
I'm almost sure I have.
But what's us got going over to Trent Hall got to do with it?
Well, I want to get into Red's room to see if I can dig up any evidence. Without some kind of proof, we can't do anything.
They could ask Red about it.
Oh, yeah, and he'd have alibis a mile long. He's just the kind that has all his answers ready long before they ask him questions.
We'll be taking an awful chance, especially you. If an upperclassman catches you in Trent Hall, there's no telling what they might do.
Oh, I know that. But think of the punishment Jerry will get if he's found guilty. Would you want to see Jerry suffer for something he didn't even do?
I should say not. Come on.
I may be all wrong, but it's a chance, and I think a good one.
So do I.
Now, listen. If you're stopped by any of the upperclassmen, all you have to do is say you're on orderly duty. They won't ask you what it is.
Okay, I suppose they won't, but what about you?
Well, I can't be seen, so you've got to help me.
How?
Well, Red's room's on the first floor, isn't it?
Uh-huh. I think the third room on the left as you go in.
Okay. You can go in first and see that no one's in the corridor, and then give me the okay signal.
Oh, I get it.
I'll get into Red's room and see what I can find, and while I'm in there, you can stand guard in the corridor and give me a signal if anyone's coming.
What kind of signal?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Well, you can't give it away that it's a signal. I've got it. You can whistle, can't you?
Well, yes, a little.
Okay, then that's it. All right, now here we are. You go in first and see if anyone's around.
I think we just hit it at a lucky time.
Go ahead, Harold. Gee, I sure hope I can find something. But what would it be? Well, this is like looking for a needle in a haystack.
Okay, the coast is clear.
You sure? Do you hear anybody in any of the rooms?
I don't think so. Not a soul in the building.
Good. Well, here's the third room. Is this Red's?
I think so. Open the door and see.
Yeah, this is it. There's his picture on the dresser. All right, now look, I'll close the door a little more than halfway, like this.
I've got a keen idea.
What?
I'll walk back and forth in front of the door and be humming. If somebody comes, I'll stop.
Yeah, that's better. That's good.
But hurry.
Let's see now. I'll look in this wardrobe closet first. It's tough when you don't even know what you're looking for. Uh-oh. What's this? A piece of hay. And these aren't his riding boots. These are his regulation boots. The ones he wears to class. Oh, boy, you're some detective, Lee Phillips. This is more than I hoped for. Say, and now this cinches it. You should have cleaned these gloves, Morrison.
Did you find anything?
Oh, you bet I did. Hey, is the coast clear?
Okay, no one around.
Let's hurry now. We've got to get back to that court-martial. There's not a minute to lose.
What'd you find, Lee?
Oh, plenty. If they'll just listen to me now and look into... see if anyone's out in the quad. Quick.
Okay, come on. Well, what'd you find?
I found enough to prove Jerry's innocent and pin the whole thing on Red Morrison. Come on, let's run for it. I've got to get back to that court-martial before it's over.
Autolite and its 98,000 dealers bring you Mr. Charles Lawton in tonight's presentation of Suspense. Tonight, Autolite presents a story about a man whose name was synonymous with death. A true story which we call Jack Ketch. Our star, Mr. Charles Lawton. Hey, Sheriff, are you shooting at me?
Sure am, Wilcox. You know someone who fires faster than me? Why, I'm the fastest.
No. Wait a minute. Not someone, Sheriff. Something. A spark plug.
A spark plug?
Sure, a spark plug must fire at the rate of 1,000 times a minute at normal driving speeds to give you the smooth performance and economy you expect from your car. And that's why you should have your spark plugs in your car checked regularly by your Autolite spark plug dealer.
Well, suppose he finds they aren't in perfect shape, Wilcox.
Well, if they're worn out or wrong for your style of driving, he will replace them with ignition-engineered Autolite spark plugs. The spark plugs that are world famous for quality and performance.
How do I locate my nearest Autolite spark plug dealer?
Just look for the dealer displaying the Autolite spark plug sign.
Hi, with Autolite.
Jack Ketch, starring Mr. Charles Lawton, and hoping once again to keep you in suspense.
Evening, Mr. Price.
Evening, William.
Cold enough. Hard day for you, Mr. Price?
I must say I'm fair wore out.
What you need is a bit of the old warming for the cockles.
How true. It's cruel work for a man in this weather.
Well, you walk down to the Blue Ball, Mr. Price. Have yourself a dollop.
I thought of it, but I ought to be a little sort of fun tonight, William. I wonder if
Here. Have one for me, Mr. Price.
Oh, it's very nice of you, I must say, William. Very nice. Good night. Nasty little rat, that William Hartley. Got to keep an eye on him. Hartley. What right's he got to look at me like that? I know what he's thinking. Get my job. Fat chance of it. I'll see him turned off first. Go, I got a thirst. Should go home, I suppose. Bet he'll be grousing out of all Nick leather grouse. I got my rights. Blue Ball for me. Evening, one and all. Evening. Evening, Mr. White. Mrs. White. Still home? Oi, Granny, spry as ever. Here, what's all this? Somebody dead? So that's the way it is it? Keeper! Ale! I said ale! Ale! Perhaps you didn't hear me the first time.
Can you pay for it?
Yeah, I can pay for it. And more, don't worry about me. I can pay for anything. You hear that? All of you. I don't need a bloody one of you. You'll all come to me one of these days.
I'll.
The watchman is looking for somebody. He don't pay his debts, and he's going to Marshalsea prison for it.
Who said that? Who said it?
I wonder who's going to get Jack Ketch's job when he's out of office.
Who called me that? My name is Price. John Price. John Price! John Price! You hear what I say? John Price.
Oh, I have such an horrible pain in these throats, Mr. Ketch, dear. Do you have a cure?
Got any old clothes for sale today, Mr. Ketch?
Shut your faces, a lot of you. Stop, I'll do you a mischief. That's what you hear. You! Stop it! Here, that's enough.
Let me none of that in here. If you want your ale, come over to the table and drink it. Otherwise, out.
Sorry I lost my temper. I'm sorry. I'm just very tired tonight. Accept my apologies, Keeper.
I don't accept nothing from you except your money. I have to do that because I have to serve you. My charter says so.
Any trouble from you and out. That's a fact, and don't forget it. Why do they do that? Why? It's always like this. Either they won't say a blinking word or behave in that awful way. Can't they understand? I'm just like anyone else. I do my job, same as anyone. It gets lonely, a man sitting by himself, swilling ale all by himself. I wish I had some money. I mean, some of the actual, not coppers. I'd have friends then, lots of them. What was it they were saying about the watchman looking for me? They can't do that. I'll pay the debts what I owe. If I could only get a good job or two. Why don't they let a man alone? It's not fair. It's not fair.
What ain't fair, Mr. Price?
Who's that? Oh, William Hartley. You, got off late tonight, didn't you?
That's right, Mr. Price. Having a bit of a guzzle, eh?
I will not stand familiarity, William Hartley, and kindly remember your place and station.
No offence intended. None taken, I hope.
Granted.
Mind if I sit down with me mug?
I don't mind.
Long hours, short pay. That's the way of it.
William Hartley, why do you talk to me?
Why not, Mr. Price? You're my superior, ain't you? In a way. I have to talk to you.
I don't want you to have to. I want you to want to.
I sympathise.
I want a friend. I want people to smile at me on the streets and talk to me and like me.
Oh, you've got a burden, Mr. Price, and no mistake.
William, how would you like to lend me 5 sovereigns? I could pay you back with interest. I've got 1 or 2 odd debts to pay.
I heard about that, Mr. Price. Harry White was saying...
Harry White, what's he know? He's after me job like you, William Hartley. You don't pull the wool over my eyes. I know.
How could you think such a thing, Mr.
Remember, I'm not out of office yet. Remember. You stay nice to me, William, because I have the position. How about a couple of sovereigns? I know you got it, so there's no...
I'd like to oblige, Mr. Price, so help me I would. But my wife's expecting again, and you know how it is with another mouth to feed.
How about a copper's worth of ale, then?
You know, I was going to buy one for you, Mr. Price, but when I reached into my pocket, I found I'd just enough for me own mug.
William Hartley, you're a dirty, sneaking little liar.
Oh, Mr. Price.
Don't you never find yourself in trouble? Because if you do, it's John Price is going to be there, taking loving care of you.
Oh, Harry, you are a one. Now you stop it. Anyone would think that we...
Mr. White, Mrs. White.
Good evening.
Come on, Elizabeth. Time to be going out.
All right, Harry.
I said hello, that's all. I didn't do no harm, just hello. Well, hello, that's all. William Hartley, he comes to the Blue Boar to laugh at me. That's how he gets his pleasure. They all do. When I go down, it's going to be the same. Wish I was dead.
John Price, that you? Where you been? I had a piece of mutton on the table at 6 o'clock.
Hello, Pet. How's the kid?
Where you been?
Why?
I should have knowed. You've been boozing at the Blue Boar. Spent every blessed penny.
I was tired, Pet. I thought a sup would help.
Sup?
Sweetheart, we got a few shillings put by, haven't we?
Oh, no, you don't.
It's desperate, Bet, Carol. They left me in debtor's prison. I had to talk tonight.
Do you good.
Don't say that, love. Only need it for a week or two at the most. I've got to raise every penny I can.
That money's for me and the kid. You don't touch a farthing.
I'll lose me job.
Don't make me laugh. Your job. Call that a job? I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed to have people know my name.
Now, Beth, I'm your husband. It's your duty to obey me. You give me what money you've got in the house, or I'm...
Or what? What do you do, Jack Ketch?
Betty!
What do you do to Mrs. Jack Ketch? You murderer! Murderer! My husband? What's he do for an honest living? Why, he's a murderer. Mother, what does Daddy do? He's got a lovely job, Sonny, didn't you know? Yes, dear old Jack turns people off for our bread. Here's Jack Ketch, the groom of the ladder, the public hangman. Hangman! Hangman!
Autolite is bringing you Mr. Charles Lawton in Jack Ketch. Tonight's production in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Say, Wilcox, what you hear about the Autolite resistor spark plug?
Why, Sheriff, it's acclaimed as the most able, amazing, and ambitious advance in spark plugs for automotive use in the past 20 years.
Yes? Well, inform me why, Wilcox.
Well, you see, Sheriff, the Autolite resistor spark plug has something extra. That extra is the exclusive Autolite 10,000-ohm resistor that's built right into the spark plug for extra advantages important to every motorist.
But what's that mean to me, Wilcox?
It means that the built-in resistor in the Autolite resistor spark plug permits a wider gap setting, which makes possible advantages such as smoother engine performance, quick starts, and double spark plug life. That's why Autolite resistor spark plugs are used as original equipment on many leading makes of our finest cars. So, friends, visit your nearest Autolite spark plug dealer soon. He carries a complete line of Autolite spark plugs for every use. And remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. Charles Lawton in Elliot Lewis's production of Jack Ketch. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
I suppose it was wrong to beat her like that, but what's a man to do? So what with me debts and what I done to Bet, here I am in Marshalsea prison. Not the first time I've been here. What a stinking hell. All of us together in a muck of London, men, women, and dogs. There's one lad, though, that ain't so bad, coming yesterday. He's got learning, a gentleman, you can see that. Thomas Lovelace, his name. He's in debt to his eyes. £2,000.
I'll be here until I rot, Price.
I wouldn't say that, so there's always hope.
You've been here before?
3 times, so this is my 4th, and always for debt. Of course, there was the matter of my wife, Betty, this time.
What did you do for a living, Price? Why, what's the matter?
Hadn't you noticed the others? They never talked to me, so hadn't you noticed?
No, not particularly.
I'll tell you why. Because I was in the employ of His Majesty, in service to the Crown, that's why.
That's why they don't talk to you?
I suppose you won't either, so when I tell you, but you'll find out in a day or so anyhow. What's the use? I'm the hangman.
Hangman? Hangman? But I thought that Jack...
That's what they call me.
Oh?
I thought so. Go on, sir. I won't trouble you. You're a gentleman. You don't want the likes of me.
You haven't got a very savory reputation, you know, Price.
It was me job. Somebody had to do it.
I've heard that you rather enjoyed it.
That is a lie.
And what about the poor devils who paid you to put them out of their misery quickly?
Well, I was happy to oblige. Poor souls. Sometimes they give me a few pence to
help them through the awful passage to heaven. But Lord bless you, I did my best.
And if they didn't have any money?
Well, I wouldn't hold it against them, you know. Of course, I'm not denying that a nice, neat rack or press job was worth a few shillings extra, but wouldn't you have taken the money, I ask you now, wouldn't you?
I wouldn't have had your job, Price. Not for £1 million.
Oh, well, that's the way of it. Each man to what he knows. Right, Mr. Lovelace? My profession is hangman. Yours is to be a gentleman. Am I right, sir? And we're both in debtor's prison. That gave him something to think about. He wasn't so high and mighty after that. He never had visitors, and I didn't neither. That is, not till one day, 3 months after I first come here. And it was William Hartley. And I didn't like the nasty weasel smile on him.
Well, Price, I heard about your misfortune, and I came to sympathize.
How thoughtful, William.
How do they treat you in here, eh?
Like a blooming earl, can't you see?
Ooh, nasty smell down here.
Well, they haven't brought in the fresh roses yet.
Yes. What about your debts, Price? Any luck?
Well, it's only a matter of £5. William Hartley, you didn't you? You came here to help me? You're going to lend me the money if I misjudged you, William, my good friend.
You haven't misjudged me, Price. I didn't come here to lend you anything. I came here to see you had your health and spirits, and I brought you a prayer book for your poor soul to feed on.
Oh, bloody hell.
Change your ways, Price. Change your ways before it's
I'll
too late.
I'll change the shape of your... I'll turn you off, Mr. William Hartley. Right, let him go. You can let him go. Just get away. Stop it.
Have you gone mad? You know what they'll do to this.
No. I've given it to others.
You shouldn't have done that, Price. I won't forget. You pay for that.
I paid 30 lashes and slumgullion for a month. I wasn't going to forget William Hartley, never in my life. It was Mr. Lovelace who served me a crust or two of bread when I was brought up from the black hole. It was the best meal I ever had. Then things was the same again. The weeks went by. I wrote a song ballad. Mr. Lovelace did the words in writing for me. I called it The Man of Destiny's Hard Fortune, whereby his hopeful harvest is like to be blasted. Nobody bought it, though, and I still didn't have the money to pay me debts. When I heard about Betty and the kid, they run off and left me. That's when I made up my mind to get out of Marshalsea, that and William Hartley. I'd pay a little call on him. I told my idea to Mr. Lovelace one night. Mr. Lovelace.
Yes?
Come closer. Listen, I'm getting out, see? Now, you've treated me right. I'm willing to take you with me.
But how can you? We've got these chains. It's impossible.
No, it ain't. They take 'em off in the afternoon when we exercise, don't they? All right. That's the time.
But how?
Leave it to me. You want to go with me?
I'd rather die trying to stay.
All right, so here's what we do. There's a woodshed next to the gate in the yard. Doors always open. When we have our constitutional tomorrow, we hop in there and wait till it's dark.
One of the keepers will see us.
Yeah, there's a new one on. I've been watching him. He's been drunk for a week. Easy as pie. You wait. The next day we did it. Stayed hiding behind the wood until night. Felt funny without the chains on after so long. And about 10 o'clock we started out of the shed. I took a thick stick from the wood pile. Come on. The gate will be locked. Have to do a bit of climbing then, eh? All clear. Look, Keeper, he's asleep.
We have to pass him. Supposing he wakes up.
He won't. Look! Hey! You give me a hand up first and I'll pull you over.
Right.
All right. Give me your hand.
All right.
Here you come. There's London. Ain't that the loveliest sight? William Hartley's out there in it. Come on. We stayed together until we were well out of sight of the prison. Then Mr. Lovelace said goodbye.
I'll leave you here, Price. I can't thank you enough for helping me. We shan't meet again, I suppose, but I'll always remember you. Goodbye.
And he went his way. A couple of minutes later, I found a broom maker going home from selling his wares, and after a short argument, I had 2 silver shillings in my pocket. I tossed for it. William Hartley now, or later. My first one. And that took me to the nearest alehouse in Bunhill Fields. Hartley would have to wait, but not for long. I was going to do him a mischief, pay the little scut back before the night was out. It was 2 hours later that I left the alehouse with a lovely swishing in my belly and happiness in my head. Being drunk, I couldn't on my life remember what it was I had to do. I knew there was something. How his groans was dreadful for to hear, as the stones they pressed upon him, and Jack stood solemn, not shedding a tear, when the awful... Hello there.
It's me, Elizabeth's wife. Is that you, John Price? I thought you were in Marshalsea.
Elizabeth White? Well, I never have. What you doing in Bunhill Fields this time of night?
I had an order of gingerbread to deliver. You frightened me.
Oh, me? Well, I'm all right, you know. I've had 1 or 2, but nobody can say John Price can't behave like a gentleman.
Oh, you are wicked.
I wish I was married to a sweet woman like you. Ooh, how I envy your husband.
Now, Mr. Price.
I apologize humbly. Do you hate me?
Of course not. I never hated you. It was Harry didn't want me to talk to you.
I mean, you know, because I'm hangman.
Well, you're not anymore anyway.
I'm really very gentle at heart, you know. Just misunderstood by one and all.
I suppose.
Elizabeth, I've always had a liking for you.
Mr. Price.
Have you got a little money put away? We could make it a business arrangement, just you and me. I'd pay you next month. How's that?
I haven't got anything, Mr. Price.
Hold on, maybe a shilling or 2 tucked. Well, you must have copped something for the gingerbread.
Please, Mr. Price, my Harry will be awful.
It ain't honourable for a man in my position to be in debt. There's no one to turn to. Come on. I'll pay you back. I swear it's desperate.
No, Mr. Price.
Where do you keep it, eh? Stop it. You'll have the watchman down there. Stop it.
Let me go.
Where is it? Give it over, you hear me? You don't. I need this. I need it. I told you I'd pay it. Shut it off! Well, here we are again. Newgate this time. The watchman got me, but it was too late for Elizabeth White. Afraid I'd done her in. Poor soul. I'm to hang for it, see? Well, I can hear them coming for me now. I'd like a nice swig of something to see me on my way. William Hartley.
Are you ready, John Price?
You nasty little winkle. You mean you're the hangman?
I am.
Oh, blimey, I was coming back to turn you off, you maggoty worm, and I forgot it. You wouldn't be here now.
I bear you no malice, John Price.
Yeah, you won't make no hangman. Not for long, you won't. You wait. They'll start calling you Jack Ketch. You wait.
It's me duty. I always knew that someday I'd find my calling to protect the people from such poor wretches as you. I have found it.
Oh, blimey, I might have known it. Bar me too. Well, I've got a brass farthing for you, and me clothes won't fetch tuppence, so blast you.
I don't want neither. It's me job, John Price. Turning you off is me job, and that's what I'm about to do. You've come to a wicked end, as I knew you would.
Well, if I am going to nab the stifles and it's William Hartley's going to do it, I'm better off dead. Here, William, you write something for me on the wall. I've got some charcoal.
What? What do you want me to write?
Here died John Price, public hangman of London. He was turned off upon that gallows which he had served so well in his day. God save the King in the year 1686.
Suspense. A true story presented by Autolite. Tonight's star, Mr. Charles Lawton, will return in just a moment.
This is Harlow Wilcox speaking for Autolite, world's largest independent manufacturer of automotive electrical equipment. Autolite is proud to serve the greatest names in the industry. They are members of the Autolite family, as are the 98,000 Autolite distributors and dealers in the United States and thousands more in Canada and throughout the world. Our family also includes the nearly 30,000 men and women in 28 great Autolite plants from coast to coast, and in Autolite plants in many foreign countries, as well as the 18,000 people who have invested a portion of their savings in Autolite. Every Autolite product is backed by constant research and precision built to the highest standards of quality and performance. So remember, from bumper to tail light, you're always right with Autolite.
This is Charles Lawton. Next week, the third member of our first drama quartet will be your guest. Mr. Charles Boyer will appear as a man who successfully played both sides of the law. Vidocq's last case is the story, and it will be heard next week on
Suspense. Jack Ketch was written for Suspense by Anthony Ellis. Suspense is transcribed and directed by Elliott Lewis. Music was composed by Lucian Morwick and conducted by Lud Gluskin. In tonight's story, Joe Kearns was heard as Hartley. Featured in the cast were Joan Banks, Doris Lloyd, Ben Wright, Raymond Lawrence, and Ramsey Hill.
Charles Lawton may be seen in the fall tour of the first drama quartet's presentation of Don Juan in Hell by George Bernard Shaw.
For the location of your nearest Autolite spark plug or Autolite battery dealer, or your nearest authorized Autolite service station, Phone Western Union by number and ask for operator 25. Switch to Autolite. Good night.
This is the CBS Radio Network.
See Charles Lawton with the first drama quartet at Cole College Auditorium Tuesday, October 28th. This is WBMT, Cedar Rapids.
Program transcribed earlier for presentation at this time. Mutual presents Arch Oboler's Plays. The Mutual Broadcasting System has the pleasure of presenting the 18th broadcast of a special 26-week series of plays by radio playwright Arch Oboler. In this series, we hope to bring you dramas full of the excitement and the meaning of plays, told in relation to this expanding world in which we live. Tonight's play is titled History of a Mug.
His poor Mama.
Yes.
So much flour, so many people.
Sure, the whole ward's turned out.
His poor Mama. Look at her. Can't even cry no more, hey?
Sure he's tough. He'd gone a long way in this town. A long, long way. Joe. Yeah. How about the old lady?
The whole family.
Italian and Irish. What a combination. Sure tough on him losing Eddie. Right guy.
Yeah.
When you think of it, a couple of days ago, sitting right on top, and now in a couple of hours, I'll fall on the ground.
Yeah.
Nuts. What's the matter with me? What I need is a drink and a big one.
Mrs. Mayhem, my heart's crying for losing a son like that.
It's God's will.
For 30 years, you raised a son, and in a day he's gone.
She's got another.
He never amounts to nothing. This Edward was the blessing of the family. Look at the poor mother over there. So much hurt in her she can't even cry. She must be remembering every day of his life. Poor Louisa Mayhem. To lose a son like that. To lose a son like that. Everybody look at me. I think I should cry. Everybody cry when somebody dies. You should cry when you lose a son. You should cry because you remember. What do I remember about you, Eddie? What? I remember you first cry, Eduardo. I cried so much that night. Should I cry now? What else can I remember, Eduardo?
First talk. First walk. First hurt. First school. First fight. First trouble.
Trouble. Should I think of your first big trouble, Eduardo? Will that make me cry for you? How old were you? 16. Yes, 16 years ago. A day just like this. It was home, remember? It was Papa. Everybody come to see him. So cold.
Are you all right, Ma?
What did you say, Fabiano?
Are you all right?
Oh, sure. He's going to come yet, huh?
He'll get here, Ma. You know how Eddie is.
He should be here.
Well, gosh, Ma, what do you expect? Kid like Eddie, Pa dying so suddenly?
You are with me, Fabiano.
He'll get here, Ma. Gee, will you look at the crowd?
Everybody like your papa.
You're awful brave, Ma.
Brave? What is brave? Your papa lived. He was good. He died quick without hurt from the trouble in his heart. So now he like always he was. We give him best funeral, biggest funeral, just like he was.
Ma, look, it's Eddie.
Huh?
Eddie, I told you he'd get here.
Eduardo.
Hello, Ma. Can I talk to you?
Eduardo, it's no right to be late at this time.
Ed, where you been? Where else, will you? Ma, listen, I gotta talk to you. It's important.
Importante? What could be more importante than your papa?
Ma, don't waste time, believe me. Eddie, you're out of your head. Everything's looking.
All right, Fabiano. Come, Eduardo, in the kitchen.
Yeah.
You too, Fabiano. So, what is important?
Ma, I gotta have some dough. Ed, not now.
Fabiano, let him say what he wants.
Ma, can you give me some dough right away? Say $100. Ma, he's crazy. No, Ma, honest, I mean it. I gotta get out of town right away.
What are you talking?
Out of town. It's important, Ma. Believe me, I'll get the dough back to you.
Eddie, what you do?
Nothing. I just want to get out of town.
Tell me, Eduardo, tell me. Tell me. And so I say that, Eduardo. 16 years ago, I said to you, tell me. I wait. And then I listen to what you say.
You gotta listen to me, Ma. There's a lot of things mixed up in my reason.
You talk.
I didn't do nothing.
You
I don't
talk.
want to be suspicious of me either.
Mama this,
Really?
Mama that.
You don't understand me, Ma.
So many words.
Ma, listen to me, because I know what I'm saying.
I don't know.
I gotta get a job someplace.
You say you got a chance job someplace.
Tired of school, Ma.
You tired school.
Ma, you gotta remember.
You tell me I should remember you have weakness in heart like
I want to be able to rest.
You want to rest and then go work it. What do you want? It sounded nice in my head. I don't know. And then, remember, he come in the door, a priest.
Now, listen to me, Ma. I'm tired of school. I had enough school anyway. You
will forgive me for intruding, Mrs. Mahone. This is an unfortunate time for you, but I have no choice but to speak to you now.
Fabiano, I don't know who
It's Father Dino from over on 3rd. Yes, I'm Father Dino, Miss Mahone. I'm here because... Eduardo, stay, I said.
My boy, what did you do? Tell me, Padre.
I came here tonight only because some of the other boys told me Eduardo intended to run away. That, believe me, must not be.
Tell me what he do.
Nothing, Ma.
You don't talk. Father, say what? You take what?
Our church, we have a fund. The pennies of the boys to pay for athletic equipment and such. Part of our church activity, you understand?
Hey, Eduardo steal from a church.
Believe me, Miss Mahone, I investigated carefully.
Eduardo?
Honest, Ma, you can believe me. I didn't steal from no church.
Mahone, you are from the old country. I too. And to come at a time like this is a hurt I could not do if what I say was not God's truth. The boy is young. Ma, the crime is a black one. And the police should be...
No, wait. Well, I did it.
Fabiano.
No, but you...
I did it, huh? I tell you I did.
Fabiano, boy, you
I got it, no, I took it. Me, not the kid. Me.
You were always one of my best. I can't believe, to be honest. If I took you to the police, the other boys... Fabiano, tell me, why did you do it?
I took it. That's enough, ain't it?
No. The reason. If you could only give me the reason, justification, maybe
I tell you.
Miss Mahone.
He do it for his papa.
Huh?
For his papa. I don't understand before. I know.
Tell me.
Fabiano, he know that Papa always said when he died, he went nice funeral. Plenty flower, everybody riding automobile, lots of vino for his good friends. If Papa died quick, I don't get enough money for all that. I go here and there, nobody's gonna run it for me. And yesterday, Fabiano, he come and he put money in my hand. He say, for nice funeral, Papa, Mama. When you see Holy Father, he take money for make his Papa nice funeral. It is a sin, but it is such a great sin you take him to the police here. It is such a great sin, Holy Father. How I remember that day when you were 16, Eduardo. Should I cry for you now because of the two lies that day?
And the lie I told the Holy Father, and the lie your brother Fabiano told to the Holy Father, for the police were not there. See, 2 lies to the Holy Father. That's why I should cry for you now, Eduardo. What else should I remember, Eduardo? So many days to remember. Oh, when he was 20, should I cry for that day?
One side of the railroad made it run, made it race against time. One side of the railroad, now it's done. Brother, can you spare that?
Oh, Mama, you spoiled it. I almost made it.
You may break my ear. Just because you're happy, that don't make you no Caruso, my son.
Caruso was never as happy as I am tonight, Mama. Tonight, I'm a king of Ireland, standing on a cliff, ruling the world.
So?
Oh, now, all right, Mama. Tonight, I'm the greatest Italian bel canto that ever lived. With the world right at my feet.
No, my son. Tonight you are just a plain Americano boy who thinks maybe he, how you say it, maybe he go places in this world.
Oh, wise guy. Yeah.
The door, Fabiano?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, better go see her.
No, Fabian, don't bother. It's only me. Eddie. Yeah. In a 2-pants suit. Boy, are you simple. How are you, boy? Hello, Mama. You glad to see me?
Yes. Why not?
Yeah, your cheeks so warm, Mama. Like a young girl.
I'm glad you're home, Edward. Eddie.
Eddie's right, Mama. Good America. You're looking great, kid. How do you feel?
The heart, you have no more trouble?
No, I'm okay. How do you like the coat? Yeah, the cat's pajamas. Cats don't wear them. Not at $150. $150. Say.
You make lots of money, Eddie.
Got big expenses, Mama. That's why I ain't been so... Well, so nice to you as I'd like to be.
I have everything what I need.
I got big plans for you, Mama. Believe me. Right now, Ed. How about taking your coat off, sitting down, and staying a while, huh?
See, I bring you supper. Maybe it's cold now. I heat it up.
No, come back here, Mama. I didn't come here to eat.
It's ravioli?
No, I ate already, believe me. I want to talk to both of you. Something plenty important.
Importante?
Yeah. A real chance for you, Fabian, believe me. Yeah?
Oh, Fabiano, he's got his chance already, Eddie.
What do you mean?
He's going business.
Yeah, at the end of the month. Store for myself over on 4th. Well, they sort of fit right in. Yeah, perfect. What do you mean? The more capital you got in the business, the more chance you got to stay open doing a big business, right? Yeah, heads up. Huh, Mama?
I don't know what he talked about.
I'm going to tell you, Mama. Fabian, could you use a couple extra $1,000 in your business? Good. All right. Here's one of them here. Look. Go on, take it, Mama. That's real, believe me. $1,000, And it's got a twin cistern with the same numbers up in the corner that you can get in a week. It's nice, huh? And I don't know what to say.
And Father, why you give this money away?
The name's still Eddie, Ma. And I'm not giving away. It's for services rendered, like they say, and it ain't exactly mine doing in the first place. Well, all right, but what's it all about?
See, we listen.
It's about $2,000. $1,000 in your hand right now, and the other $1,000 a week. But why? We don't hardly see you for weeks, and you shove money in my hand. Why?
See, Pepe.
You know, I'm in a trucking business.
Yeah?
Sí. Well, like any business, you're in it to make money. You don't ask too many questions. So I was like that, so now I'm in a little trouble, and you can help me out.
Trouble?
Nothing important, Mama. Believe me. What's the matter, Ed? I'm trying to tell you. Tonight, a couple of my trucks went out on the load. They was carrying merchandise I didn't know anything about. They didn't come back.
What's that mean?
It means I'm in trouble, Mama. But my brother helps me out. What can I do? I don't even know what it's all about. I'm telling you. The trucks was carrying liquor, and the government's got them now. 2 brand new ones, the dirty stuff.
Wait, Eddie. Why'd the government take away your trucks?
Mama, did you ever hear about prohibition?
Sure, I know about prohibition. But what they got to do with your trucks?
Ed, you've been bootlegging. Well, both of you listen to me. A guy comes in yesterday. He says he wants to rent a couple of my trucks to deliver some merchandise tonight. Fresh cut flowers, he tells me. So he pays me my price, and I give him the trucks and the drivers. The trucks go out, and right outside of town, they stop by the Fed man. So this guy loses his hooch, and I lose my trucks.
Maria, you lose so much money.
Yeah. You can always buy new trucks, but you can't buy what I stand to lose if you don't help me out, Fabian. I still don't get it. My name wasn't on the trucks, but my drivers, they didn't change the license plates like I always told them to do when they was carrying a load they wasn't sure of. That means the federal guys have traced the plates and the trucks right back to me. You get it? To me.
Well, you say you don't do nothing.
Sure, but how good that's going to do me with those guys. Fabian, you got $1,000 now. You get another $1,000 a week if you do this.
Just tell those cops them 2 trucks belong to you. Me.
Eduardo, what do you talk?
I'm talking sense and $2,000 for Fabian and my whole future, don't you see? Give me the thing on me. Nothing but that I rented some guy the truck. That don't mean a thing.
Well, then why
I'm trying
do
to tell you. The big boys out the city hall, they think I got plenty of the ball. They want me to get into their racket. Yeah, all right. If any kind of fuss straightening this truck business out, my whole chance of politics goes out the window.
But I don't.
you, Faith. If you get in on it, so what? If you get your name in the paper, who cares? In a couple hours, it's all fixed up and forgotten. You can open up that store and do a big business.
Well...
Faith, do it for me, will you? Ma, tell him to do it. The whole rest of my life depends on it, Ma. Believe me, Ma.
You see how well I remember everything that happened at night, Eduardo. Every word you said. Every word. Should I cry for you now because I believed you? Because I make your brother do what you want him to? Say that the trucks were his.
Any further disturbances and I will clear the court. And so it is the verdict of this court that you, Fabian Mahone, are guilty of the illegal transportation of alcoholic beverages in violation of our federal statutes, and I hereby sentence you to 6 months in the federal penitentiary and fine you the sum of $5,000. This court will now be in adjournment until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Should I cry for you now, Eduardo, for that? No. What else can I remember then, Eduardo? The day when you were 30. Let me remember.
Mama, listen. Hasn't she got a laugh like bells?
See, Fabiano.
And pretty, huh?
And so young.
Oh. You mean too young for me?
Oh, no, Fabiano. She's good for you. You carry too much on your shoulders for too long. She laughs. She's good for you. Just like you are good.
Thanks, Mama.
Fabian, Madam Mahone, come on in the water.
In a couple of minutes, darling.
All right.
Look at her splashing around, huh? Like a pretty little girl, eh, Mama?
Fabiano, tell me something.
Oh, of course.
You are happy where you are?
Oh, sure, Mama. It's a great little town. It's not too little either. You know, you ought to see the main street. That's where my store is. Saturday, busy as Coney Island on a hot winter day. Now that we'll get along, Grace and me. Mama, the way you're looking at me, all right. Out with it. What's on your mind?
You come a long way just to make your old mama happy.
Oh, no.
But today, your mama do something maybe you don't like.
Mama, you do something I wouldn't like? What, for instance?
Look. He come down a boardwalk. You know him? It has been so long since the trouble, my son.
Mom, go.
No, stay, Fabiano. Ketch.
No.
For me, Fabiano. I get old. I got 2 sons. When I go, you must still be brothers.
Brothers.
Stay. Shake hands, huh? 10 years. They make lots of things different, my son. Eduardo is big political. To everybody, he's very, very respectable.
Yeah?
You and me, we know, Fabiano. But to the world, he must come to your wedding, this big political, and dance and drink vino like a brother.
Oh, there you are, Mama.
Please, Fabiano, with my heart, huh?
I don't know why you have to come running out here to the stinking ocean the minute you get a little hot, then I got to come chasing out the minute you wave a little finger. So what's the length
Eddie, you don't know who this is?
Look, Ma, I'm a busy man. I haven't got... Fabian. Ed.
You shake hands, huh? It's good.
Hey, Madam Mahone, Grace, did you two come down here to swim? Oh.
Grace, this is my brother, Ed. Ed, this is Grace Murray. We're going to get married.
Yeah? Hello, Grace. You were right, Mama. It's funny good. Pleased to meet you, Grace. Yeah. Pleased.
cry now for that time you first meet her, Eduardo? Or should I cry for the days after that?
Come on, get in the car, both of you. Baby, what's the matter with you? You're going to show your girl the town, aren't you? So I got a car and you haven't. So go on, get in the car and I'll show you the works. Go on. Get in, Grace.
Sure about that.
Showing you the town will be a pleasure. Believe me. Take it easy. Enjoy the game, Grace. Baby will be along any minute. And even if he don't show up, I'll show you the time. Yeah, sure, he said he'd get here by the third inning. What if he don't show up? I know my way out of this ballpark, believe me. Enjoy yourself, Gracie. Enjoy yourself. All right, baby, all right. Relax. It's a swell night. What Faith don't know don't hurt him. I mean, so we take a little ride. So what? I'm going to be your brother-in-law soon. So it's like a family, huh? Relax, baby. I'll get you home. Pretty soon. Believe me.
Should I cry now for those days you spent with her? Or should I cry for that one night when she cried? Gracia, what?
Go away.
I don't know what. I think maybe you're sick. Oh, you gotta tell me, Gracia. Fabiano, he won't be back till tomorrow. Gracia, little bambina, you tell Mama how you're sick, huh? Fabiano come home, she'll not find you like this.
Don't worry. He won't find me here.
Huh?
Oh, please, leave me alone.
Oh, no, I can't do that. Why, you say my Fabiano, he don't find you when he come back? You tell me, girl, what you mean. Tell me.
No.
Tell me, you hear? Tell me. I don't let you go. I don't let you hurt my Fabiano. Gracia, what do you say? Who? Tell me who? Eduardo, should I cry for you now because of that night? While I ask who? Maybe inside I know before she answers. You. Still I don't cry. I remember all there is to remember about you. And yet No. Wait. Maybe if I think of that last night, when I went to you to talk about her. Maybe if I think about that.
Well, all I gotta say, Mama, is this is a heck of a time and I ain't to bother.
I have things to talk to you.
The older you get, the slower you get. Look, it's late. I don't feel well. Get it off your chest. Get out of here. Let me go to sleep.
Eduardo, all I say is this. You leave her alone now.
What are you talking about, huh?
Fabiano, he come home tomorrow. They get married soon. All right. Everything should be all right. So you leave her alone now. You never come over. You never talk to her. Just nothing, Eduardo.
You're a pretty wise old lady, Mama. Smart like a fox. But maybe I don't like foxes, and maybe I don't like you, Mama, so maybe I don't listen.
Eduardo, I say it once more. And you hear me good, so you remember. You leave her alone as long as you live. You hear, Eduardo?
I'll tell you something, Mom, and ask you if you'll hear. I don't feel well. The doctors told me I need rest, see? Rest. So come on, get outstairs.
You leave her alone?
No.
Eduardo, what do you say, Fabiano?
Fabiano's a fall guy. He always was and he always will be. No, Mom, I'm not through with little Gracie yet, not by a long shot. What are you going to do about it?
I do this and this.
You hit me.
See. But I hit too late, my son.
You hit me. Me. Nobody ever laid a finger on me before. You hear me? Nobody.
Eduardo, what
I can't stand being hit. Makes me sick inside. I gotta hit back.
Eduardo, stay back.
Nobody hits me. You hear me? Nobody.
Eduardo.
You can't get away with it, and you won't get away with it because of... You won't?
Eduardo.
What the hell? Hey, you...
Eduardo, what? Eduardo. So, there was the last I can remember, Eduardo. You fall on the floor, and you stay there. I hear your breath soft on it. I remember your papa fall like that when he's a heart. I cannot move. I stand. I watch. I do not move. And in 1 minute, 2 minutes, you are still quiet. I hear your first breath, Eduardo. I hear you laugh. You were no good, Eduardo. But you were my son. Why can't I cry for you? Why can't I cry for you?
Just heard History of a Mug, a play by Arch Oboler. The leading role was taken by Miss B. Benaderet. The original musical score was composed and conducted by Jack Meakin. Next week's play will bring you a new comedy by Mr. Oboler. A few weeks ago, you heard A Gallery of Big Shots, Feminine. In response to numerous requests, Mr. Oboler has written a sequel, which we'll broadcast next week. Its title, A Gallery of Big Shots, Masculine. This will be the 22nd in the special series of 26 plays written, directed, and produced for the Mutual Broadcasting System by Arch Oboler. Tonight's play was transcribed for presentation at this time. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
And now, stay tuned for the program that is rated tops in popularity for a longer period of time than any other West Coast program in radio history. The Signal Oil program, The Whistler. Signal, the famous Go Farther gasoline, invite you to sit back and enjoy another strange story by The Whistler.
I am the Whistler, and I know many things, for I walk by night. I know many strange tales hidden in the hearts of men and women who have stepped into the shadows. Yes, I know the nameless terrors of which they dare not speak.
And now for the Signal Oil Company, The Whistler's strange story. Little Red Book.
It was night, and it was Panama City, and the few passengers on the Augusta Queen were waiting for the big freighter to resume her voyage to San Francisco. Larry Layton was even more restless than some of the other passengers. Also, he was bored. He'd had little success in trying to strike up an acquaintanceship with an attractive young woman on board. And now, from the aft rail, he could see her going ashore with a portly little gentleman, clad in ill-fitting white linen. It's annoying, isn't it, Larry? What such an attractive girl can see in a man like that. And suddenly you decide that you must know. You flip your cigarette away, hurry to the gangplank, and walk ashore. Once ashore, you follow the girl and her companion. See them turn down an alley in back of a warehouse. You walk to the entrance to the alley and then stop at the sound of their voices raised in anger.
You little cheat. So that's it. That's why you've been playing up to me.
Stop it, Roy. You're all mixed up.
Not so mixed up that I don't know I talk too much after a few drinks and to the wrong dame.
Your voice sound.
I'll teach you how to talk to Roy Tate, Julie. No cheap dame pulls anything on Roy Tate, understand? I'm going to... Julie, why? Oh.
You freeze back into the shadows, don't you, Larry? A moment later, the girl runs past you. You wait for a moment, make certain no one is approaching, and then move down the alley. The man who called himself Roy Tate is quite dead, isn't he, Larry? A knife lying nearby. You lean down and quickly search him. The inside pocket of his coat is badly torn, but his wallet is there and a considerable amount of money. Quickly you pocket it, then wrap the knife in your handkerchief. It would be dangerous if it were found on you, but you're reasonably sure it won't be. And it might prove quite valuable later. You return to the ship and walk briskly up the gangplank.
Well, Mr. Layton, you didn't stay ashore very long. Change your mind about going into the city, huh?
Well, I figure the scotch is just as good in the ship's bar and a shorter walk.
You're probably right.
Oh, I am right.
Well, hello, Curly. Want to dance?
Sorry, baby, not in the mood.
Oh, nobody wants to do anything. A fine sailor.
Scotch and soda, Sam.
Sure thing, Mr. Layton. Go easy on the lady. She's feeling low.
You mean high? I don't remember her, Sam.
She came aboard here in Panama. Been talking to me a mile a minute. First voyage, she said. Nobody see her off. Lonely, no husband.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I like mine younger, Sam, and prettier.
Oh, there you are.
Thanks.
Well, this more what you mean?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it, Miss Fraser?
Hello, Sam.
Still nothing for me, beautiful?
What?
Well, all this mileage together, and not even a smile. Drink?
Thank you. The same as yours.
Oh, that's much better. Oh, Sam.
I'm on it, Mr. Layton.
Say, Mr. Layton, Miss Fraser. Can't we make it Larry and,
Julie.
Oh.
Of course.
And I'm Marie.
Well, hello, Marie.
I'm sailing tonight.
You sure are.
Oh, now don't tease me, Shirley. I'm just trying to have a little fun.
Sure, go on, Larry. Dance with the lady.
Yeah, but
I'll put on another wrist.
Oh, fine thing. I'll do the same for you someday.
Come on, Curly.
Okay.
Cheer up. I might cut in.
Okay. Come to my arms, Marie.
Gladly, Curly. Gladly.
It's all quite different than before, isn't it, Larry? Julie's a different girl, and you're amazed at her calmness after what you saw her do to Roy Tate only a short while before. The moments in the ship's bar stretch into hours, as along with other passengers, the two of you wait for the ship to get underway. You and Julie are dancing together now, and you make several attempts to learn what it was all about. You also wonder what Julie took from the murdered man, as you recall that his coat pocket was torn badly. Perhaps it happened when she lunged at him, but you'd like to know for sure. One thing you do know, the girl in your arms can be as lethal and deadly as she is beautiful.
You dance very well, Larry.
Better than Roy Tate?
What do you know about Roy?
Very little. I spoke to him a couple of times on the voyage down. By the way, where is he? Didn't he go ashore with you?
Yes, he did.
Oh. But he didn't come back with you?
No. Roy isn't going to come back, Larry.
Oh?
He's meeting another ship.
Going back where he came from, you mean, huh?
Something like that. Let's not talk about him anymore.
Okay. Just wondered. I didn't see him taking any luggage ashore. Won't the purser think it's odd?
His luggage is ashore. Roy sent a message back with me.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted his luggage sent to the International Hotel, held for arrival. It's there now.
I see. Well, glad he thought of everything.
He did.
Funny.
What's funny?
You two seem so, chummy on the voyage down, and now you don't even seem to miss Roy.
You want me to miss him?
No.
And why are you so concerned about him?
Okay.
What's okay?
Like you said. Let's not talk about him anymore.
That's better, Larry.
Hey, wait a minute.
Sam, is that sailing time?
Sure, we're sailing.
That's right, Mr. Layton. Almost 12.
Come on, Julie. You want to go out on deck, watch you get underway?
No, thanks. I'm going to turn in. That's a good idea. I'll go with you, Curly, and then we'll come back and dance till morning.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Marie.
You two fight it out. I'll see you in the morning.
Check.
Good night, Sam.
No, Miss Fraser.
No, Curly, we got the whole bar to ourselves.
You and Sam have the whole bar to yourselves. I'm awfully tired, Marie, and I'm turning in, too.
Oh, nobody wants to have any fun. A fine sailor.
This is where I came in. Good night, Marie. Good night, Sam.
Good night, Mr. Layton.
You go out on deck, wander along the rail, watching the deck crew as they work to get the ship underway. You know which stateroom is Julie's, don't you, Larry? 11B. You're still wondering if she took anything away from Roy Tate. There has to be a reason for murder. Outside of 11B, you pause and look around. No one is watching, and the porthole is partially open, the light from inside shining through. You glance in just in time to see Julie staring at an ordinary little address book, slowly turning the pages. You wonder if the book was Roy's and what it means. And you wonder further when you observe Julie carefully circling an address and then hiding the book behind a wall mirror. And then quite suddenly the light goes out. You leap back and hurry away. A few swift steps along the deck and you bump squarely into another passenger.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, Curly.
Oh.
Anyway, everybody's in a hurry, don't you think?
Yeah.
Everybody's either running after something or away from something. Don't you think so, Curly? Don't you?
Yeah, I suppose they are.
Now we all start running, Curly. We're getting underway. Well, too bad nobody wants to have any fun. This could be a very interesting voyage.
That's right, Marie. It could be a very interesting voyage.
Now, a word about popularity. A friend of mine, when he's dining out, always chooses a restaurant that's crowded. They must have something, he says, to be so popular. Well, by the same token, Signal gasoline must have something when you consider that last year, motorists bought a lot more gallons of Signal gasoline than during any other year in Signal history. What is that something which accounts for such increasing popularity? It could be the good mileage, which has made Signal known throughout the Pacific Coast states as the Go Farther gasoline. It could be the way cars respond with life and zing to a gasoline that's engineered to help your engine run more efficiently. But frankly, friends, just as sure as my name is Marvin Miller, you're never going to know all the good reasons why so many drivers are switching to Signal until you try a few tankfuls in your own car. Why don't you this week and see if you don't agree with me? You get a full measure of all the things that make driving more pleasure when you fill up with Signal, the famous Go Farther gasoline.
It's tantalizing, isn't it, Larry? The question mark that surrounds Julie Frazier. You know that she killed a man in a back alley of Panama, a man named Roy Tate, but you don't know why. You wonder if it hasn't something to do with a little red address book which Julie keeps hidden in her stateroom, and you're determined to somehow examine that book. But your opportunity doesn't come until the morning the ship approaches San Francisco's Golden Gate. You enter the dining room quite late to learn that Julie hasn't appeared for breakfast.
Good morning, Curly. Your little playmate isn't here. I'll have you all to myself.
Marie, the name is Larry.
Ah, it's Curly to me. I like nicknames, and I like you.
Good. I like you, too.
I'm glad, darling, because after little Julie gives you the brush off...
You think she'll give me a brush off?
Oh, yes. I've known a million like her. They always do. And when she does, you can come back to Marie. I'll make you forget all about her.
Hey, you know, I'm beginning to think you mean it.
Oh, I do, Curly. You're what I've always wanted. And Julie's just playing with you, I can tell.
And you're not.
You know I'm not. The minute I saw you, I knew you were the one guy I needed. I'm very determined to.
Marie, you amaze me.
Now you run on, knock dutifully on Julie's door, see if she's seasick or anything. I can wait.
Yeah, like I said...
I amaze you. Mm-hmm. Well, that's something. Curly, supposing I told you that I was a very wealthy widow.
Oh, that's something, too. I've read about things like this.
You don't believe me.
Oh, now don't be hasty, Pet. I tell you what, I'm working on a deal. Now, if it falls through...
Then you'll come back to me? Uh-huh. How sweet.
Yeah, well, eat your breakfast and keep thinking about me.
Oh, I will, Curly. I will.
You shake your head as you leave the dining room. Marie's certainly a strange one, isn't she, Larry? But harmless. And you've other more important things on your mind. On the way to stateroom 11B, you see Julie approaching and hide behind a lifeboat until she passes. A moment later, you're trying the door of her stateroom. Find it open. Inside, you cross to the wall mirror. Take down the little red address book from where you watched Julie hide it. Quickly examine the addresses inside. You find one carefully circled, and you copy it down and place the book back in its hiding place. And then you freeze in your tracks, almost afraid to breathe.
Miss Frazier, it's the steward. Miss Frazier.
You hold your breath, hoping the steward will go away and not enter the stateroom and find you there. Finally, he does leave. You hurry back to your own stateroom. That afternoon, Marie bids you a tearful goodbye, insists on your writing down an address where you can reach her in San Francisco. And then later on, you're on deck with Julie as a tug pulls your ship slowly toward the docks.
Well, here we are. It's all over.
Doesn't have to be, Julie. I mean, can't I see you to your hotel?
No, Larry, I'm sorry. I have other things to take up my time in San Francisco.
Well, I guess Marie was right.
Marie?
She predicted you'd brush me off. Says that's when she's moving in.
Well, I'm not brushing you off, as you put it. I'm sorry, Larry. It's something I can't explain. Perhaps we'll meet again sometime.
Julie, if you're in trouble, if you need a strong-arm man...
No, I'm not in trouble. It's just that... Well, it's goodbye, that's all. It has to be.
Okay, Julie. It's like you said. Goodbye.
But you've no intention of letting Julie get away from you, have you, Larry? No. It's simply that you'll have to play things her way at the moment. As the ship ties up, you're the first ashore and make your way out to the Embarcadero and start down the street.
Cab, mister?
Yeah.
Here, I'll take your bag.
Thanks.
Where to, sir?
I don't know yet.
Don't know, huh?
No.
Oh.
You just sit a while, huh? You don't mind?
Why should I mind? So we sit, so you pay. I got to turn on the meter, you know.
Oh, sure. It looks like quite a town, Frisco, huh?
Please.
What?
San Francisco.
Oh, sorry. I was out here on the coast once before, about 5 years ago. Never got up here, though. Had business in Los Angeles.
L.A., huh?
Los Angeles.
Oh.
Nice town. Wait. Start up.
Huh?
See that young lady over there?
Yeah. One getting into that cab?
That's right. There's $10 in it for you if you don't lose her.
I won't lose her. $10 says I won't.
You follow Julie's cab to a large downtown hotel. As you hurry inside, you see her enter the cocktail lounge. You slip into a back booth and watch as she slides the little red book across to the bartender, then turns and walks away. Your eyes follow her as she moves through the lobby toward the desk. Then you lean back and order a drink. You're still puzzled about that little red book, aren't you, Larry? What it means, why she left it here. And you decide it's time for a showdown. You finish your drink and then step across to the hotel desk.
Good afternoon, sir. Miss Julie Fraser, please. What's her room number, clerk?
Miss Fraser, let me see.
I believe she just checked in. I'm surprised at you, old man, that you'd forget her so quickly. Miss F is a very attractive young lady.
I'm sorry, sir, but we have no Miss Fraser.
Now, look, she was here just a few minutes ago. Blonde, medium height, wore a tan coat, brown hat.
Oh, that young lady.
Yeah, that young lady. Come on, what's her room number?
Oh, she isn't staying here, sir.
But I saw her.
She merely wished to know the correct time.
Thanks, loads.
You hurry outside, but Julie is nowhere in sight. You've let her get away, haven't you, Larry? And you're certain now you've lost her for good. And you still don't know why the little red book is so important. Why Julie killed a man for it. However, there's still the address, isn't there, Larry? The address you copied from that little red book. The answer you're looking for could be there, couldn't it? You set out for that unknown address, glad you're carrying Julie's knife in your pocket in case you need a little protection.
Well, hello, Larry.
As they say so often, fancy meeting you here.
I've been expecting you. Come in.
Thanks.
Let's sit down. Have a drink?
Yeah, scotch if you have it. Anything else if you haven't.
You're easy to please.
Not always.
Meaning what?
I'm very particular about women.
Are you?
Yeah, really.
Soda?
Yeah, soda.
You know, Larry, I must say I'm surprised.
Oh?
But it turned out to be you.
I thought a moment ago you said you were expecting me.
Well, I was expecting someone, but I didn't know it would be Larry Layton.
Not sorry, are you?
Of course not. Here's your drink.
Thanks. Not joining me?
No, later, perhaps. Do you mind if I sit down?
Oh, no. Lots of room here.
Oh, thanks. Tell me something, Larry. Did you expect it to be me?
Let's say I was counting on it. Very much.
Then you knew all along. Aboard ship, I mean.
Maybe.
Oh, silly, really. You could have saved yourself all this trouble. Why didn't you tell me then?
I was in no hurry.
Oh, weren't you, darling?
Besides, you weren't much help. When I tried to see you home, you fobbed me off with something about leaving it as just a shipboard friendship, remember?
Oh, that's right. I did say that, didn't I? And so you had to go to the cocktail lounge, get my address, and here you are.
Yeah, here I am.
You have the money?
Money?
The payoff, darling.
Well, that's something we should talk over. Huh?
Talk over? Oh, no.
Now, take it easy, baby.
Look, the job's done. A deal's a deal. You were to bring the money to the address circled in the little red book. No negotiating, no questions asked.
Relax.
Sure, I'll relax when you hand over that 30,000.
30,000? Oh, we could have an awful lot of laughs, baby.
We? What are you talking about?
A partnership. When we collect that dough, we'll split it.
When we collect? But I thought that you...
That I was the payoff boy? The happy chappy with all the folding stuff? No.
I see. Oh, Julie, how could you be so stupid?
Oh, no.
Now, look, handsome, if you think you're going to muscle in...
Think, I am in, Julie.
Are you really?
Yeah, we just sit here. Wait till the payoff comes along.
Oh, you fool, you've ruined everything.
I have? How?
The book when you picked it up at the bar. Don't you see? How is the party who's supposed to pay off going to know this address?
Take it easy, baby. I didn't pick up the book. I didn't have to.
What? But how did you know to come here? How...
Hadn't we better answer that?
Hello? Is that right? Yes. No, don't send it over here. I'll come and pick it up. Just
Better change your mind, sweetheart. This knife might slip.
Wait a minute.
Do as I say.
Hello? On second thought, I think you'd better bring it here. Yes. I'll be waiting.
So the payoff is on its way over, huh?
Yes, but it won't do you any good. I'm not splitting that money.
15,000 apiece isn't bad.
I'll keep the whole 30,000. You'll see.
I don't think you will, Julie.
Now, Larry, please, that knife.
Bother you? Being so close to your lily-white throat, or you're just remembering what happened in Panama?
Panama? What do you know about
that guy,
Panama?
Roy Tate, was a sucker to trust you, baby. He's the guy who did the job, huh? Whatever it was, told you how he was going to be paid for it. You killed him for that little red book, circled your own address, knowing you'd get the payoff.
No, I didn't.
Sure you did, Julie. With this knife.
Where did you... Oh, no.
Oh, yes. I saw you. It's your knife, baby. I want you to have it. Always. I'll just take the whole $30,000.
The two things you want to be sure of when you buy a new battery are, one, power. Plenty of power for quick starting, plus the many electrical needs of your car. And two, long life, so you won't have the expense of buying another battery soon. Well, tonight I want to tell you why, for power and economical long life, you just can't beat today's new Signal Deluxe battery. First of all, improved microporous rubber separators allow freer flow of acid between the plates, yet are impervious to the action of the acid. Result, Signal Deluxe batteries deliver up to 35% more power. Secondly, Signal Deluxe batteries are guaranteed, not just for the usual 12 or 18 months, but for a full 30 months on a service basis. That makes the cost per month so low, you're actually saving money while you're enjoying the extra power and dependability of a Signal Deluxe battery. So before you buy any battery, get your Signal dealer's trade-in offer for your old battery. Find out his convenient credit terms. Prove for yourself that today's smartest battery buy is today's finest battery. The new improved Signal Deluxe battery at Signal service stations.
For a moment, you're stunned, aren't you, Larry, at the realization that Julie Fraser is actually dead at your feet. Then the whole weird story whirls across your mind. The way Julie killed Roy Tate in a back alley of Panama. Your own confused wondering as to the reason. The little red book she took from him. The way she circled her own address instead of his. And now, finally, what it all added up to from the beginning. That Julie had found out how Roy Tate, the professional killer, was to be paid off. She hadn't counted on your interference, had she, Larry? No. And now you've put her out of the way, hurriedly hidden her body behind the Davenport. And it's you that waits in her quiet apartment for the payoff money. And finally...
Well, there's Frazier has a boyfriend, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Look, Julie had to step out. We're working together. You can leave the door with me, huh?
Oh, I think I better have a look around.
Hey, a badge. You're a cop.
Right, Slade homicide. Wait there in the hall, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Well, what do you know? Come to pick up a murderess, find her dead, and the guy that killed her waiting for
Now, look, I don't know anything about that.
Save it, fella. The prince on the knife will settle that. I guess you don't know some other things. Sarge, bring Marie in here.
Marie?
Curly. Oh, Curly.
I don't get it, Marie.
Oh, it's my fault, Larry. Curly, I'm the one who was to make the payoff for that Griselli killing in the East. The syndicate gave me the money and told me to come out here to make the payoff. Get the address from that little red book. Then I got ideas of my own.
Keep talking, Marie. Curly here seems to be very interested.
When Roy Tate left New York by boat for San Francisco, I figured he was a trigger man. So I flew to Panama, caught the Augustus Queen for San Francisco. I thought I could talk Roy into a 50-50 split of that payoff money, but Roy Tate wasn't aboard.
He had been.
So I found out when we reached San Francisco. I read in the papers that a man identified as Roy Tate was found stabbed to death in Panama.
But how did you happen to tie Julie in with it?
I picked up the little red address book the way I was supposed to and called the phone number. When I recognized Julie's voice, I saw my chance.
To do what?
Get rid of her? Tip the police off she was getting the payoff? Oh, I didn't dream the cops would trace my call so quick and pick me up when I walked out of the phone booth.
But why, Marie? Why did you want Julie out of the way? She meant nothing to you.
No. But she meant something to you. I'm sorry it turned out this way, Curly. You see, I thought we'd have such good times, just the two of us, with that $30,000 of payoff money.
Let that whistle be your signal for the Signal Oil program, The Whistler, each Sunday night at this same time. Meantime, Signal Oil Company and the friendly independent dealers who help you go farther with Signal gasoline hope you'll remember, regardless of what gasoline you use, you'll enjoy more miles of happy driving if you drive at sensible speeds, obey traffic regulations, and avoid taking chances. You may even save a life, possibly your own. Featured in tonight's story were Bill Foreman as the Whistler, Gerald Moore, Betty Lou Gerson, G.G. Pearson, Harry Lang, Joe Forte, and Herbert Litton. The Whistler was produced by George W. Allen and directed by Robert Hafter, with story by Joel Malone, music by Wilbur Hatch, and was transmitted overseas by the Armed Forces Radio Service. The Whistler is entirely fictional, and all characters portrayed on The Whistler are also fictional. Any similarity of names or resemblance to persons living or dead is purely coincidental. Remember to tune in at this same time next Sunday when the Signal Oil Company will bring you another strange story by The Whistler. Marvin Miller speaking for the Signal Oil Company. Stay tuned now for Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden, which follows immediately over most of these stations. This is the CBS Radio Network.
This is Orson Welles, speaking from London. Here in the grim stone structure on the Thames, which houses Scotland Yard, is a warehouse full of souvenirs, where everyday objects, a skipping rope, a glass, an iron, a stepladder, all are touched by murder. You take this key.
This was on the floor beside the body, sir.
A door key. The kind that fits only one lock. But whose?
Perhaps the murderer, sir.
Today, this key can be seen in the Black Museum.
From the annals of the Criminal Investigation Department of the London Police, we bring you the dramatic stories of the crimes recorded by the objects in Scotland Yard's Gallery of Death, the Black Museum. In just a moment, you will hear The Black Museum, starring Orson Welles. Now, The Black Museum, starring Orson Welles.
For here we are in the Black Museum, Scotland Yard's Museum of Murder. Here lies death, arranged neatly on the shelves and tables open to your view. Now here's a spoon. It's a simple household spoon. Our murderer was meticulous. With this he measured out a careful dose of poison. That oar up there on the wall, that was used by the stroke of a famous rowing aid at Henley. Later it was used in anger, swung at a man who stood on the edge of a pier, stunning him. The man drowned in the Thames very quickly. Ah, here we are. Here's the key. An ordinary key. The kind used to open most of the front doors in London. Once this key was in the pocket of a man who was waiting for another in his room at the Kingsley Arms Hotel in Surrey.
Regan? Oh, I'm sorry.
Excuse me, sir. I'll just turn the bed down.
Certainly. I'm waiting for Mr. Regan. You don't happen to know what time he'll be back, do you?
No, sir, but if you wait here, you're sure to catch him.
Thanks, I will. I particularly want to see him.
The conversation lapsed. The visitor sat down again. The maid completed her work and left, stealing a glance at the young man as she closed the door behind her. Night fell. Lights came on in the guest bedrooms. But in one room, the number on the door was 22. A man sat alone in the darkness, waiting. The night passed, and morning came. In the hotel, there were beds to be made, rooms to tidy. No answer from room 22. The maid was pleased her work could be accomplished without interruption. She was thinking of this as she opened the door. Stepped in. The bed was unused, turned down just as she'd left it. Sunlight was flooding through the two windows, and on the floor, a man lay dead. The manager called the police. The police requested the assistance of Scotland Yard, and Inspector Sidney Russell and Detective Sergeant Hobbs were sent down to Surrey.
This is the room, sir. Number 22.
Has anyone been in there since the maid found the body?
No one, Inspector, except myself and the local police sergeant. On his orders, I kept the room locked.
Good, ma'am.
There you are.
Thank you. I'll let you know when we need you, sir.
The two detectives covered the room, and in their quick survey of the murder scene, they found several leads.
His wallet, sir. Let's have a look at the identity card, Sergeant.
There you are, sir.
Name's Thomas Regan.
What else you got there, Sergeant?
Roll a note, sir.
The killer either missed that or the motive wasn't robbery.
Oh, I don't think it was robbery, sir. His watch is still on his wrist.
Going?
No, sir. It stopped at 7:25.
That might have been the time the murder took place, though on the other hand, the watch might have run down this morning.
He was shot through the head, sir. Surely somebody must have heard that.
You would think so?
Well, here's a shell I found on the carpet.
.22. We'll keep this for ballistics. What else, Sergeant?
Oh, some silver taken from his trouser pocket, a handkerchief with the initials TR in the corner, and a cigarette lighter.
With the initials TR. He's well labelled.
And this was on the floor beside the body, sir.
The door key. The kind that fits only one lock. But whose?
Perhaps the murderer, sir?
Unless it belonged to Regan himself.
Oh, it's not the kind they use in hotels.
No. Was he wearing or carrying a keychain?
No, sir.
Then the key would have been carried in his pocket along with his money.
Which hadn't been spilled onto the floor.
You may be right, Sergeant, but to make absolutely sure, that key should be checked against every lock in Regan's home and his office and everywhere he might have occasion to visit. If it does not belong in any of those places, then it seems to me that when we find the door that key fits, we find the murderer.
The detectives went downstairs to talk once more to the hotel manager.
Inspector, this is a terrible business. Listen to those men in the bar.
What about them?
They're newspaper reporters. Oh, this is really dreadful. The notoriety, the reporters, the headlines. It'll ruin my business.
It wasn't very nice for Mr. Regan, either.
No, I suppose not. Poor devil.
What can you tell us about him?
Only that he was a commercial traveler.
He's stayed here before?
Oh, several times.
A traveler, eh? Did he work for any firm in particular? Would you happen to know?
Yes, I do know, because they always paid the hotel bills. He worked for a London firm, Hardy & Sons Limited.
Thank you, sir. I'll leave the room upstairs locked until we have it photographed and checked for fingerprints.
Oh, Inspector, there's one other thing I'd better mention. I think it's important.
Yes?
A man called to see Mr. Regan last night.
Did you get a good look at him?
I didn't see him at all, nor did the desk clerk. The maid found him waiting in room 22 when she came in to turn the bed down.
Unusual, isn't it? Knowing Regan's room number? It suggests an acquaintance.
Not necessarily, Inspector.
Why do you say that?
We have a register here in the foyer. It's on that wall over there.
A room register?
Yes, just a card opposite the room number. Some people don't bother with it, but Mr. Regan always put his card up.
So that maid is the only one who saw this man?
Yes, Inspector.
Then I'd like to talk to her, sir.
Oh, I'll go and get her for you.
The hotel manager returned almost immediately with the maid. She was a young girl, very pale, her eyes still fearful from the sight she'd seen on the floor of room 22.
Annie Mitchell, Inspector.
How do you do, Annie?
This is Inspector Russell from Scotland Yard.
How do you do, sir?
Annie, what time did you turn down the bed in room 22 last night?
It was going on for 6, sir.
And I believe Mr. Regan was not in his room.
No, sir, but there was a man there.
Could you describe him to me?
Well, he was tall, fairly young-looking, and dark hair. He spoke educated-like.
I see. What did he say?
Just that he was waiting for Mr. Regan, and he particularly wanted to see him.
Tell me, would you know this man if you saw him again?
Well, yes, I think I would.
The inspector was well satisfied, but Sergeant Hobbs, who had been questioning the guests, had not fared so well.
Now, sir, I'm sorry to trouble you, but I have to ask you a few questions.
Really, this is most annoying. I've been kept here all the morning, and it's extremely inconvenient.
I quite understand, sir. Now, can you tell me whether you heard any unusual noise or disturbance during the night?
The only disturbance of which I'm aware is the disturbance created by the police this morning.
You didn't hear a shot, for instance?
Certainly not.
And you were in your room the whole evening?
Yes. Can I go now?
Yes, that'll be all. Thank you very much.
Well, it's certainly not been a pleasure.
It seems nobody heard a shot last night, sir.
Nobody at all?
Not a single guest, even those occupying adjoining rooms.
That's funny. Anyway, I'm leaving you in charge here. The police surgeon will be arriving to carry out a post-mortem.
All right, sir. Are you going back to London?
Yes, I think the case winds up there. The next move is to London to check that key against every lock in Mr. Regan's home and his office just to see if it fits.
I'm very sorry to bother you, ma'am, but I'd like to go right over the house, if you don't mind. trying the locks, and if there are any cases or cupboards, etc., that I might miss, I'd be very pleased if you'd point them out to me. I've come along to see if you can help me, sir, in connection with Mr. Regan. I want to know if there's any desk or a cupboard in his office, or the office door itself, which has a lock for which this might be the key. I believe you've a lock-up garage here, formerly rented by Mr. Regan. It must, of course, have a lock, and I'll be glad if you'd allow me to compare the lock with this. No, sir. I've checked every conceivable place connected with Regan, and the answer's the same everywhere. The key does not belong.
In that case, we have our answer. Somewhere, someplace, Sergeant, there is a door, and behind that door we'll find the murderer. You know, if I was a philosopher, I would say that it's rather symbolic that we have a key to which we must fit the lock. Still, I'm not a philosopher, I'm a detective, and it's our job, Sergeant, to find the lock, to find the door, and to find the murderer. And that's just what we're going to do, Sergeant. We're going to find the door that this key fits.
In time, they were to find the door. By patient, methodical methods, they came to the front door of a small flat. The key fitted. The same key that can be seen today in the Black Museum.
In just a moment, we will continue with The Black Museum, starring Orson Welles. And now we continue with The Black Museum, starring Orson Welles.
Inspector Russell went back to London, certain that the crime had motive, and that the motive would only be found by a search into the habits and associations of Thomas Regan. His first call was to the offices of Hardy & Sons, Limited, where he was speedily ushered into the presence of the reigning Mr. Hardy.
Come in, Inspector. Sit down.
Thank you, sir.
Shocking business. Now, who could have wanted to kill poor Regan?
That's what we're trying to find out.
Of course. Shocking. One of our best travelers.
What do you know of his personal life, Mr. Hardy?
I may be able to help you there, Inspector. I believe in taking an interest in my employees. I've always encouraged them to bring their troubles to me.
And Regan had troubles?
Yes. He was a bachelor. Rather a gay one at times. I suspect he was having trouble over a woman.
Yes?
A married woman. She kept on ringing up to speak to him, and the thing spread in the office. He was rather embarrassed and slightly worried about it all.
Do you happen to know the woman's name, Mr. Hardy?
I'm afraid I can't help you there, Inspector, though... Wait a minute.
Yes?
He did mention something. That's right. I've got it now. He didn't want to tell me her name.
That's a pity.
But in admitting she was married, he did tell me that her husband was a doctor on hospital duty.
A doctor?
Yes, and one other thing I recollect. He mentioned her first name. It was Lyndall.
And I have information that the man we want to interview is young. That suggests a hospital intern.
Yes, with a wife named Lyndall. Not very much to go on, Inspector.
It might be quite a help. He never told you, I suppose, whether it was a London hospital or not?
He never said so, but I'm quite sure it would be. At least the wife lives in London.
What makes you think that?
Well, the number of telephone calls that woman made to Regan. Nobody could afford that many trunk line calls.
So they began in London, St. Bartholomew's Hospital.
An intern or a young doctor whose wife's name is Lindell.
The registrars of the big hospitals consulted their records, made special inquiries. St. Thomas's, Westminster, Guy's. Each one of them returned to shake his head. There are several hundred hospitals in the London area. Big general hospitals, small private nursing homes, special hospitals, children's hospitals, maternity, infectious, orthopedic hospitals. At the first 42, they drew a blank. Then, at the London Royal Hospital at last.
A young intern whose wife's name's Lindell. That's a funny one, Inspector.
It's all the information we have, Doctor. It's useless to ask, I suppose, whether you might have this man on your staff.
But we do have him.
What?
Well, at any rate, one of our interns has a wife named Lindell, Dr. Bowen. Dr. Felix Bowen. I'll send for him, shall I?
No, wait, Doctor. Could you give me some idea what this Dr. Bowen looks like?
Yes, I think so. He's young, 31, I think. Quite tall, dark hair.
Would you have his address here in your records, Doctor?
Certainly. I'll get it for you, Inspector.
Thank you.
And shall I send for Dr. Bowen?
No, I don't want to see him just now, and I don't want it known that any inquiries have been made about him.
Very well, you can depend on me. Is he in some kind of trouble?
Nothing to worry about just yet, sir. Now, if you'll get me that address...
Patients had paid off. The 43rd Hospital. Now, to interview Lindell Bowen. Inspector Russell went to the address. He'd been given a small flat in a good residential district. The lock on the door fascinated him. The urge to try out the key in his pocket was almost overwhelming. But instead, he knocked.
Mrs. Byrne?
Yes?
I'm Inspector Russell from Scotland Yard.
Scotland Yard?
May I come in?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
She was young, an attractive woman, but her eyes were frightened.
Mrs. Byrne, when did you last see Thomas Regan?
Regan? Thomas Regan?
I think you know who I mean.
But I don't, Inspector. I'm very sorry.
Not at all, ma'am. Perhaps I'm mistaken.
Well, of course, I've read about him in the papers. That is, if it's the same, Mr. Regan.
It is the same. Mrs. Byrne, with your permission, I'd like to conduct a small experiment.
Experiment? I don't understand, Inspector.
It's quite simple. This key.
Key?
I'd like to try it in your front door.
But
Of course, if you choose to say no, then I won't be able to try it.
You won't?
But I also ought to warn you that I can return in a very short time with a warrant.
All right. Try it.
Thank you, Mrs. Byrne. I'll just open the door and insert the key.
The key turned, effortlessly and easily. Hope died in the woman's eyes. The inspector from the yard took out the key and closed the door again.
And now, Mrs. Byrne, you and I are going to have a talk about Thomas Regan.
That afternoon, several significant events took place. A gun was found beneath a pile of medical books. It was taken to Scotland Yard to the ballistics expert there.
The gun checks, sir. That's a murder weapon right enough.
Little wonder nobody heard the shot in the hotel. It's fitted with a silencer.
A silencer. Evidence of premeditation. Late that afternoon, the record of its purchase was uncovered. The second significant event.
The gun was bought at a shop in the Soho district, sir. A second-hand shop 2 weeks ago.
By whom, Sergeant?
The description covers Dr. Felix Bowen. And the proprietor says he could recognize the man if he saw him again.
We'll give him that chance. Come on.
Where to, sir?
The hospital. To pick up Bowen.
The third event was Bowen's flight across London. Somehow, in some way, the doctor learned of the net that was closing about him and made a run for it. He was gone when the detectives reached the London Royal Hospital. They drove to his home, but he wasn't there. Now, across England, the vast network of police communications went into action. The teletype carried the news of the fugitive.
Central to all stations. General alarm for one Dr. Felix Byrne, age about 31, 6 feet tall, dark hair. Educated voice, quietly spoken. Wanted on suspicion of murder.
The search was on. In 1,000 stations, vigilant eyes searched for Bowen. On the streets, on trains and buses, in restaurants and hotels. Within 24 hours, he was picked up.
I really must insist. This is a terrible mistake. I really don't know what this is about.
And I'm sure you've got nothing to worry about, sir. Just answer a few questions, that's all.
Well, of course, I'm perfectly prepared to cooperate with the law, but I must insist on an explanation at once.
Yes, of course, sir. You see, unfortunately, your appearance coincides with the description of a man wanted by the police.
Oh?
It's just a routine matter, sir. If you'll give me some proof of your identity, we can clear the matter up in a few minutes.
But I explained to the constable it's no longer compulsory to carry an identity card.
Yes, I know that, sir, but before we release you, we must have proof of your identity.
Yes, but how can I...
You see, sir, we must be sure you're not the wanted man.
But I've told you already.
Now, Mr. Bowen.
Yes?
Yes, Dr. Bowen.
Inspector Russell?
This is Sergeant Thompson, sir. Hired. We've picked up a man who we believe is Dr. Felix Bowen.
Hold him, Thompson. I'll be there in a matter of minutes.
It was Bowen, right enough. But if Inspector Russell hoped for an easy confession, he was disappointed. The doctor was defiant and tight-lipped.
I know nothing, I tell you, nothing whatever. This whole thing is an outrage.
I must remind you, sir, that your wife has made certain admissions.
My wife? What has she told you?
That she and Regan were having a love affair. That you found out. And the day before last, you went down to Surrey to see Regan. You returned late that night.
Did I?
And under a pile of medical books in your bookcase, we found the gun you used. The game's up, Bowen.
The game is never up, Inspector, until it's lost.
The evidence they had accumulated was impressive. But juries are cautious, and defense counsels are often very smart. There had to be no loopholes. There had to be complete corroborating evidence.
I think we've got our man all right. The next thing is to prove it beyond all shadow of doubt.
What's the next move then, sir?
Well, Sergeant, there's one person who got more than a passing glimpse of the murderer.
Oh, you mean Annie, the maid at the hotel?
Right. We'll see how Mr. Byrne fares on an identification parade. I have a feeling he won't fare too well. Now, Annie, I expect you've heard of an identification parade.
Yes, sir. Like they have on the films.
That's right, Annie, but this is not a film. This is the real thing. Before we go into the next room, I want to impress on you how important it is that you make no mistake. A man's life may depend on your judgment. So when you answer me, make sure, absolutely sure, beyond any shadow of doubt, the man you identify is the man you saw on the night of the murder.
Yes, sir.
Right, then. Now, in the next room, there are 8 men. I want you to follow me into the room, take a good look at each of them, and see if you can pick out from amongst them the man you saw in room 22 waiting for Mr. Regan.
Very well, sir. It's not the first gentleman, nor the second. But this is the man, sir.
That's a lie.
Yes, and that's his voice. I'd know it anywhere. This is the man, Inspector.
Well, Mr. Byrne, would you like to make a statement to us now?
I have nothing to say, except that I doubt that the evidence of a silly maid is likely to give you a conviction, Inspector, whatever you may think.
We're depending on more than that, Mr. Byrne. There are other witnesses, including a silent witness, a door key. That was careless of you, Mr. Byrne. Very careless indeed.
Bowen was identified also by the owner of the second-hand shop as being the man who had bought the gun some 2 weeks before. With that, the case was complete. A door key had helped to find a murderer. And that self-same key can be seen today in the Black Museum.
Orson Welles will be back with you in just a moment. Now here in person is Orson Welles.
Bowen killed the man who had stolen the affections of his wife. His was not a clever crime. It was premeditated, without a doubt, but clumsily conceived. For the young doctor was no student of the art of murder. Yet he might have escaped justice had not a key fallen from his pocket. A key which ultimately brought the police to his front door. And now, until we meet next time in the same place, and I tell you another story about the Black Museum, I remain as always obediently yours.
The Black Museum, starring Orson Welles, is presented by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Radio Attractions. The program is written by Creswick Jenkinson, with music composed and conducted by Sidney Torch. Produced by Harry Allen Towers.
Mysterious Traveler.
This is the Mysterious Traveler, inviting you to join him on another journey into the realm of the strange and terrifying. I hope you will enjoy the trip, that it will thrill you a little and chill you a little. So settle back, get a good grip on your nerves. Where are we going? We're going to journey to the grave and learn the secrets of the dead in a tale titled The Accusing Corpse. Some years ago, when I was a county coroner, I was called in on a most interesting case. A case which had begun in the country home of Philip Drake, the wealthy stockbroker.
Roger.
Thank goodness you were able to get here in time.
I left town right after I received your call. What's wrong, Philip? You sounded so upset over the phone.
It's Vivian. She's upstairs in her room packing. She says she's leaving me.
Leaving you? Why?
She seems to feel our marriage has been a mistake. Roger, won't you speak to her? Persuade her to stay. After all, she is your sister.
I'm afraid, Philip, that Vivian and I have never been as close as sister and brother should be. She's always been wild and spoiled. Perhaps, Philip, it would be better if you were to let her go.
No, I couldn't do that. I love her, Roger. I wouldn't want to live without her. Won't you please try to persuade her to stay?
All right, Philip. I'll do my best. But I must warn you, I haven't much influence over her.
I'm all packed and ready to... Why, Roger, darling, what a surprise. What are you doing here?
Vivian, Philip has told me. Now, surely you can't be serious. You know how he loves you, everything he's done to make you happy.
Now, Roger, you aren't going to start on that, are you?
Someday, Vivian, you'll get just what you deserve for walking over people, breaking their hearts. Every time I think of you being my sister, I feel...
Roger, please. Would you mind waiting in the other room? I'd like to speak to Vivian alone.
Oh, all right, Philip. Call me when you're walking.
Really, Philip. No matter what you have to say, you're just wasting your time.
Oh, Vivian, how can you do this to me? You know I love you, that I'd do anything to make you happy.
That's sweet of you, dear. Would you mind lending me your car to get to town?
If you leave me, Vivian, you won't get a cent. Not a cent, do you hear?
Really? Did you ever stop to think, Philip, that there might be another man with more money than you?
Another man? Oh, no, there couldn't be.
And why not?
But we've only been married 3 months. There couldn't be anyone in that time.
Oh, but there was.
Oh, Vivian. In spite of what you've done, I'm willing to forgive you and start over with you.
But, darling, I don't want you to forgive me. I want you to forget me.
Vivian, you can't do this to me. I love you. I won't let you go.
I really must be saying goodbye now. He's waiting for me in town, and I don't want to be late.
If I can't have you, no one else will, do you hear?
Oh, really, Philip, you're being ridiculous. I must go.
No.
Philip, what are you doing? A gun.
Yes, Vivian, a gun. I told you if I couldn't have you, no one else would.
Oh, Philip, you're insane. Put that gun down.
If you don't change your mind about leaving, I'll kill you.
Even with that gun, you can't keep me, do you hear? I'd sooner die than go on living with you. I'm going. And you're not going to stop. Oh, you shot.
Vivian.
Philip, what happened? I thought I heard... Vivian.
Roger, is she dead?
Yes. Philip, do you know what this may mean? Life imprisonment, perhaps. Even the electric chair.
I know. Nothing seems to matter now.
But you simply can't throw your life away like that, Philip. Oh, even if Vivian was my sister, I don't mind telling you that I always felt you were far too good for her. She didn't deserve to be your wife.
Oh, please, Roger.
Now, look, Philip. If we were to get rid of the body, who could possibly know that she didn't leave here tonight as she planned?
Oh, it wouldn't work, Roger. You can't get away with murder.
That's nonsense, Philip. Now, if we were to bury her in the woods, no one would ever find the body.
Bury her in the woods? I couldn't do that.
Then I'll do it. You can wait here till I return.
But, Roger, what if...
Philip, you must let me handle this. You'd better give me the gun.
All right, Roger. Here you are.
Good. Now, you wait here while I get rid of the body.
Philip watched, spellbound, unable to say a word, as Roger picked up the body and left the room. As Roger, carrying his burden past the gardener's shed, he picked up a shovel. In a few moments, he reached the woods which began at the rear of the house and extended for miles. He carefully made his way through the forest underbrush until he was well out of sight of the house. Then he stopped and looked about.
I think this is quite far enough.
I think you can put me down now, Roger. I'm tired of being carried like a sack of potatoes.
All right. Well, let me congratulate you on your performance as a corpse.
Do you think he suspects anything?
Of course he doesn't. He's positive that he shot and killed you.
You've got the gun, haven't you?
Well, certainly I've got it. You don't think I was going to let him discover that the bullets had been removed and blank cartridges substituted, do you?
Oh, no. Not you, Roger. You always know what you're doing.
I always try to, my dear sister.
You don't think Philip will give you any trouble, do you? Outside of being in love with me, he isn't an utter fool.
Don't worry, I can handle Philip. Now, here's the key to the apartment I rented in town. You'll find my car a quarter of a mile down the road.
All right. I'll be waiting for you at the apartment.
I'll be there in a few hours. Now, let me see. Yes, this seems like a nice place to dig.
The next morning, Roger called on Philip at his office. With a calculating glance, he noted that Philip's eyes were bloodshot, that his hand trembled as the two shook hands.
How are you, Philip?
I couldn't sleep at all last night. I kept thinking of Vivian. And what if her disappearance is noticed? People begin asking questions.
Now, all you have to do is tell them that Vivian left you and you don't know where she is. Or things like that happen every day.
You've been very helpful to me, Roger. If ever I get a chance to repay you for it, rest assured I will.
That's very good of you, Philip. Truth of the matter is, you could do me a favor if you would.
Of course. What is it?
Well, I'm in the midst of a business deal, and I find myself a little short of capital. If you could lend me some money, I'd appreciate it.
Certainly.
20,000.
20,000? That's quite a lot.
Naturally, Philip, if you feel you can't lend it to me, I'll go to a bank and try to borrow
it. It isn't that I can't lend it to you, Roger. It's just that the amount surprised me. Shall I make the check out to you?
Yes, if you please.
All right.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate this, Philip.
As Philip wrote out a check for $20,000, Roger smiled. Things were working out just as he had planned. An hour later, Roger entered an old brownstone house and went to apartment 2C.
Roger, did you get it?
What does this look like?
Oh, Roger, that's wonderful. Now we can clear out and... Why, there isn't 100,000 here.
No, my dear. I only got 20,000 from him.
But we were after 100,000. Why didn't you get it all this morning when you saw him?
My dear Vivian, it simply isn't done that way. Blackmail is an art that calls for the use of psychology. Philip will give us many times over the money I hold in my hand, all in due time, of course.
You mean I'll have to go on hiding in this miserable apartment until you finish your little game with him? Never being able to leave it for fear someone will recognize it.
Come now, Vivian. You've got the radio and books.
I won't spend weeks in this apartment, I tell you. I won't. My arm.
You'll do exactly as I say, Vivian. Exactly. Do you understand?
Roger, my arm. You're hurting me.
It's nothing to what I'll do if you disobey me. Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
A week passed. A week in which Roger patiently bided his time. For time, he knew, was working on his side against Philip. Then one morning he called on Philip at his office.
Good morning, Philip. How are you?
How do you expect me to be? This past week I've been able to think of nothing but Vivian. And what happened that night.
Philip, you must stop brooding over it. Whatever happened was her fault, not yours.
Yes, you're right. Perhaps what I need is a vacation.
Yes, of course. A trip would do you a world of good. And if I could afford it, I'd go along with you.
You mean you haven't any money?
I'm afraid not, Philip. That's what I've come to see you about. I must have $40,000 at once.
40,000?
Yes, I know it's a good deal of money, Philip, but without it, I'll be ruined.
Well, naturally, I want to help you, Roger, but 40,000?
If I don't get the 40,000, Philip, it may mean prison for me. Now, you wouldn't want to see that happen, would you?
Well, of course not, Roger, but...
After all, Philip, I saved you from prison. In fact, I made myself an accomplice to Vivian's murder by not turning you over to the police.
Well, yes, I know,
now,
but...
You could hardly expect me to remain loyal to you if you weren't willing to help me, could you?
I see. It seems I haven't any choice. Very well, Roger. I'll write you out a check.
Roger's eyes gleamed in amusement as he accepted the check from Philip. There was no longer any doubt that Philip understood him perfectly. Things were working out exactly as he had planned. Later that day, Roger went back to the old brownstone house. There was a smile on his lips as he entered apartment 2C.
Look at this. $40,000 in cash.
Oh, Roger.
Now, wasn't this worth staying in hiding for, Vivian? And there's plenty more where this came from. Who could that be? You better get behind that screen.
No. All right, Roger.
Yes?
CLD for Miss Brown. It amounts to $64.
Oh, you must be mistaken. There's no Miss Brown here.
This is the address she gave. It's in care of Mr. Roger Martinson. That your name?
Why, yes, but I don't know any...
Those packages are for me, Roger. How much did you say the COD was?
$64, miss.
Oh. Here you are.
Thank you, miss. Here's your receipt. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
When did you buy those clothes?
This morning?
You mean you went out shopping in spite of what I told you?
Well, I was sick of being cooped up in this apartment day and night. I had to do something for a change.
And what of my plans? You risked everything with so much at stake.
Roger, stop looking at me like that. I tell you, I couldn't stand being cooped up in this apartment any longer.
But I gave you orders to stay here.
Well, I won't. I want you to get the rest of the money at once so we can clear out. And if you don't, I'll go shopping whenever I feel like it. You can't make me stay here.
You'll do exactly as I say, Vivian. I won't allow anything or anyone to interfere with my plans. I've worked out every step perfectly, and there isn't going to be any slip-up.
Another week passed, a week in which Roger made no effort to see Philip. Then early one evening, he got into his car and drove out of the city to Philip's home in the country.
Oh, it's you, Roger. Come in.
Good evening, Philip. Oh, where are the servants?
This is their night off.
Oh. You're not looking well at all, Philip. You shouldn't remain in this house by yourself.
What difference does it make where I am? Wherever I go, the memory of that night follows. It's hard to believe that it was only 2 weeks ago tonight that I killed her.
2 weeks ago tonight? Why, so it was. Oh, by the way, Philip, do you think you might possibly lend me $60,000?
60,000? You can't be serious.
Oh, but I am.
But I lent you that much already.
Yes, I know, but I must have more.
No. I won't give you another cent. You've blackmailed me enough.
Blackmail is a harsh word, Philip.
What else can you call it? Now, you're just as hard and grasping as Vivian was.
Yes, but you must remember I'm alive and she isn't.
I suppose you're glad she's dead. In life, she was worth nothing to you. In death, you're able to get $60,000 for her. In death? How do I know she is dead?
But don't be foolish, Philip. You saw her lying on the floor in this very room.
Yes. But how do I know she's dead? It was you who examined her and told me so. And you buried the body by yourself.
Well, I just wanted to spare you, Philip.
Just exactly where did you bury Vivian? As a matter of fact, how do I know the whole affair isn't staged for my special benefit, so that you can extort money from me?
Oh, surely you don't believe that, Philip. Why, you shot her with your own gun.
Yes. And you took the gun away from me immediately after the shooting. Suddenly that whole affair is becoming very clear to me.
I tell you, she's dead, Philip, and buried out in the woods.
Then I want to see the grave and the body you say is in it.
But this is ridiculous. I won't go searching for a grave in the middle of the night.
You shouldn't have to search for it, Roger. Not if you really dug one. Come along. We can pick up a shovel at the tool shed.
I won't do it.
I said come along, Roger.
Oh, very well. But I'm not certain I'll be able to find the grave. After all, the woods is fairly large, and it's been 2 weeks since I buried her.
That's all right, Roger. We'll stay out there until you do find her.
A few minutes later, Philip and Roger picked up the shovel at the tool shed and then continued on their way to the woods that began at the rear of the house. Neither of the men spoke as they entered the woods. Roger leading the way with a flashlight. Several times he stopped, trying to get his bearings, then plunged on again, hoping to find a familiar landmark. It became apparent that Roger was growing less and less sure of himself.
Oh, the grave is someplace around here. I'm certain of it. Perhaps we ought to come back in the daytime. It might be easier to find it then.
I know, Roger. You shouldn't have any trouble finding it now, if it exists.
It does exist, I tell you. It's just that the woods are so confusing at night. Everything looks so different.
Just keep on searching, Roger.
Well, perhaps this is the spot. It looks something like it.
Well, is it or isn't it?
I don't know. It looks like the place where I buried her, and yet I'm not certain.
There's only one way to make certain, and that's to start digging. Here's the shovel.
But suppose this isn't the spot.
Then we'll dig somewhere else. In fact, we'll dig up the entire woods if necessary. After all, you're certain she is buried in the woods, aren't you? Go ahead, Roger. Start digging.
Oh, very well.
Well, Roger, you've been digging for 20 minutes now, and you haven't uncovered a body.
Philip, I told you I wasn't sure this was the spot where I buried her.
You're a great actor, Roger. But I'm afraid this time you've overplayed your role.
What do you mean?
Vivian isn't dead. And there's no use your pretending she is. Everything that's happened was part of a scheme the two of you planned to extort money from me.
I tell you she is dead.
Then where's the body?
I thought this was the spot, but I must be mistaken. I'm sure I didn't bury her any deeper than this, but if I... Philip, turn the flashlight this way.
What is it?
Look. Do you see what I've uncovered?
A hand.
Yes. This is the spot where I buried her, Philip. Just a few more shovelfuls, and I'll have her uncovered.
Oh, it can't be.
There. There you are, Philip. Of course, she's been in the ground for 2 weeks, but I think you can easily recognize that it's Vivian.
Yes, it's Vivian.
And look, Philip, here's the bullet hole under her heart. The bullet hole that you made.
I don't want to see any more. I've had enough.
You should trust me a little more, Philip. Everything I did was for your own good. After all, you don't want to go to the electric chair, do you?
I don't care what happens anymore. I can't stand having her death on my conscience any longer. I'm going to call the police.
Don't be a fool, Philip. You know it might well mean the electric chair.
I'll take my chances. Anything's better than going on living the way I have these past 2 weeks. I'm going back to the house and call the police.
Philip, come back. Come back, Philip!
Operator!
Philip, wait. Wait, don't do anything foolish.
No, you've cut me off. Take your hands off that phone, Roger.
All I want you to do, Philip, is to listen to me for a few minutes. At the end of that time, you may do as you please. Now, that's fair enough, isn't it?
Nothing you can say will make me change my mind about calling the police.
Listen to me first. Then if you still want to call the police, you can. Now, please put the receiver down, Philip. That's it.
Well, what do you want to tell me?
Well, do you mind if I mix myself a drink first? It's been a rather difficult evening.
Very well.
Oh, well, what about one for you, Philip? You look as though you could stand a drink.
No, thank you.
Oh, nonsense. Do you good.
What is it you want to say to me, Roger?
Huh? Oh, yes. Say to you. Oh, yes. Yes, of course. Here's your drink, Philip.
Thank you.
Well, now, what shall we drink to? We'll drink to your good luck, come what may. There. I feel a good deal better.
All right. Now that we've had our drinks, what have you got to say?
Oh, yes. What I wanted to say was I never let anything interfere with my plans, Philip.
What do you mean by that?
Simply that I can't allow you to go to the police, and therefore you shan't. It would spoil my plans.
Oh, it would it? Well, I'd like to see you stop me.
I have, Philip. In a very little while, in fact, in just a few seconds, you'll be dead.
Dead? What are you saying?
Yes, Philip. The drink I mixed for you was poisoned.
Poison?
Aren't you finding that it's becoming difficult to breathe?
Oh, no. You couldn't have. My throat. It burns.
Yes, I know, Philip. But It'll all be over in a matter of seconds.
Now, I see it all. You might...
Yes, Philip. Just a week ago tonight, she died according to plan.
I'm cold. Please, Joe.
I'm afraid, Philip, that you haven't the strength left to reach the telephone.
I will.
I'm afraid you and Vivian never had a chance, Philip. I had things worked out perfectly, down to the smallest detail. Hello, operator. Operator, please connect me with the police.
It was at this point that I was called into the case. Inspector Carlton called me an hour after Roger Martinson had phoned the police. When I arrived at the Drake mansion, I examined the body of Vivian Drake, then that of her husband, Philip. When I had finished my examination, I entered the library, where Inspector Carlton was questioning Roger Martinson.
Hello, Doc. Oh, Doc, this is Roger Martinson. Mr. Martinson, this is Dr. Smith, the county coroner.
How do you do?
Hello.
I'll be with you in a few minutes, Doc. Just stick around. Now, Mr. Martinson, you were telling me how you came to this house 2 weeks ago tonight to see your sister and found that she was gone.
Yes. Yes, my brother-in-law, Philip, told me that she'd gone on a vacation. I thought it strange at the time that she should have gone away without saying goodbye to me, as we were always very close. But days passed, and I didn't hear from her.
Tell me, was it like your sister to go away and not write?
No, it wasn't, and that's what worried me so. These past 2 weeks, Philip kept putting me off when I inquired about Vivian's whereabouts. Well, tonight I couldn't stand it any longer. And I came to this house to have it out with him.
What did your brother-in-law say when he saw you?
Well, he was quite agitated at my unexpected arrival. When I couldn't get any satisfaction out of him regarding Vivian, I threatened to go to the police. Then he broke down and confessed that he murdered Vivian.
When did he murder her?
He told me that he'd done it 2 weeks ago tonight. Why, that was the very night I'd come here to see Vivian, and he told me that she'd left for a vacation.
I see. Go on.
Well, naturally, when he told me he'd murdered her, I was aghast. He led me to the woods and showed me the grave. We returned to the house, and before I knew what had happened, Philip had taken poison. Then I called the police.
Well, it seems like a plain case of murder and suicide. Outside of a few questions at the inquest, I don't think we'll trouble you anymore, Mr. Martinson.
That's quite all right, Inspector. I shall be at your service anytime.
Just a moment, Mr. Martinson.
Yes.
I was very much interested in hearing what you had to say to the inspector regarding the murder of your sister. You say that your brother-in-law confessed to murdering her 2 weeks ago tonight?
That's right.
That would be April 2nd, wouldn't it?
Yes, that's correct.
Then you never saw her alive after the night of April 2nd?
Why, no, of course not.
What are you getting at, Doc?
Please, Inspector. Mr. Martinson, would you mind telling me where you live?
At 425 West 107th Street.
Tell me, were some clothes delivered to that address in your care a week ago today, April 9th?
Clothes?
Yes. To be exact, a woman's sports suit, which cost $64 and arrived COD.
Why, no.
You're lying, Mr. Martinson. I have in my hand a slip of paper that not only proves that you're lying, but that will send you to the electric chair.
Doc, what do you say?
Yes, Inspector. Mr. Martinson's plan was perfect, but he slipped up badly. He forgot to search Vivian Drake's clothing before he buried her. When I examined her body just now, I found in one of her pockets this receipted bill bearing the date April 9th. That proves beyond a doubt that she wasn't murdered by her husband on April 2nd, as Mr. Martinson here claims.
No.
Yes, Mr. Martinson, the corpse has accused you from the grave of murder and has given us proof of your guilt.
No, it can't be. I had everything planned perfectly. Perfectly, do you hear? Down to the last detail. I couldn't have failed. I couldn't.
This is the mysterious traveler again. Have you enjoyed our little trip to the grave? Poor Roger. What a pity. After all that planning and hard work, to be tripped up by a sail slip found on a corpse. Just goes to prove that you have to be more careful when you're burying people you've murdered. Now, I recall another case where a woman drugged her husband and... Oh, you're getting off at the next stop. I'm sorry. I hope you'll join me again soon. But if you do, please remember this. Next Sunday, I shall take a train that leaves at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Wartime. Don't forget, Sunday afternoon at 3:30.
You've just heard Chapter 20 of The Mysterious Traveler, a series of dramas of the strange and unusual, brought to you each week by station WOR. In tonight's program, The Accusing Corpse, Don Randolph played Roger. Also featured were Maurice Tarplin and Philip Clark. The Mysterious Traveler, written by Bob Arthur and David Cogan, is directed by Jock McGregor. Original music was played by Doc Whipple. Listen next week to a tale titled
Escape by Death.
Another tale of the Mysterious Traveler. The Mysterious Traveler is presented by WOR Mutual every Sunday over most of these stations. But beginning next week, The Mysterious Traveler will be presented at a new time, Sunday afternoons at 3:30. Please note the change in time. 3:30 every Sunday afternoon, beginning next Sunday. This is Mutual.
The Strange Dr. Weird.
Good evening. Come in, won't you? Why, what's the matter? You seem a bit nervous, pale and distraught. Perhaps a story would help calm your nerves. Yes, a delightful little story about a dead man who acts just as if he were alive. I know you'll like it. I call it He Woke Up Dead. My story, He Woke Up Dead, begins with two men pacing back and forth at the top of a high cliff overlooking the Pacific. They are John Raymond and his brother Gregory, a gaunt man in whose eyes gleams a fanatical fire.
Gregory, the answer is no. You're asking for $100,000 from the Raymond Foundation to spend on fake yogis and swamis, trying to get in touch with the dead. Well, you're not getting it.
But, John, all my life I've been studying death and what is in the life beyond. And now, with just a little money, I know I can penetrate its mystery.
The Raymond Foundation would be the laughing stock of the world if it went in for such a crackpot idea.
So, you think I'm a crackpot? Well, when you die, John, according to Father's will, I'll be head of the Raymond Foundation. Then you'll see I'll turn the whole foundation into a great research laboratory to study death.
That will never be. I intend to have the courts change the will, so you'll never be head of the foundation, Gregory.
No, you can't. You're blocking a tremendously important piece of work, but I won't let you.
So, just what can you do about it?
This, John. I can do this.
No, Greg, no.
Uncle Gregory, you say Father had a dizzy spell and fell from the cliff before you could catch him? Yes, Jack. It happened so fast, I could do nothing.
But Father never got dizzy. His health was perfect.
The groundkeeper said he saw you push Father off the cliff. That's nonsense. I was trying to catch him, pull him back.
Jack, you know Uncle Gregory wouldn't do it.
I'm not so sure, Susan. Now listen to me, both of you. The coroner said your father died accidentally, and that closes the matter. Not with me, it doesn't. No? Well, I'm now head of the Raymond Foundation. And I'm going to pour all the resources of the Foundation into an effort to contact the dead.
Why, that's insane. The Foundation scientists are on the verge of a cure for cancer, for tuberculosis. You can't stop the work now.
I can and I will.
Oh, no, you won't. We'll stop you somehow. Because you did murder Dad. You killed him to get control of the Foundation for your crazy schemes.
Get out. Get out, both of you. Get out before I...
Jack, he tripped on the rug. His head hit against the fireplace.
Wait. See how badly he's hurt.
Jack, what is it? Is he dead?
Yes, Susan. All his life, Uncle Gregory's been trying to find out what happened when you die. Now he's going to find out.
Dr. Weird, before you give us the second half of tonight's tale, can you tell me why you're called Doctor?
Easy. When people listen to this program, I show them how to avoid such unhealthy things as being murdered and...
Well, somehow, Doctor, I doubt whether that would cure anybody of anything, especially a case of nerves. But I'd like to tell men in our audience how to cure something that can be cured. It's old hat-itis. Being addicted to the same old weather-beaten hat. The only real remedy for old hat-itis is to go out and get yourself a good new hat, or 2 or 3. Now, Adam hats are priced so sensibly, only $3.45 to $10, you'll easily be able to afford more than one. Combining distinctively smart styles with fine quality materials and craftsmanship, Adam hats are a truly outstanding value. You'll find it more than worth your while to discard your old headpiece for a brand new Adam hat, or 2 or 3. Now, back to Dr. Weird.
And now I'll continue my story. He woke up dead. When Gregory Raymond returned to consciousness, he was alone in a great dim room. The thick, cloying scent of flowers was heavy in the air. Startled, he saw at the other end of the room 3 coffins resting on trestles. One of the coffins was banked with flowers, and tall candles burned at either end of it. Dazed and bewildered, Gregory Raymond strode toward the 3 coffins.
This room. Where am I? Stained glass windows. It's like a church. Who's in this coffin with all the flowers on it? Why, the body in this coffin is mine. No, it's impossible. I'm not dead. I can't be.
You mustn't be upset, mister. Most of us feel that way at first.
Huh?
Yes, we did. But it will pass soon.
What? Who are you?
Turning, Gregory Raymond was astounded to see dim figures coming toward him from the shadows. A man and a woman, both very old. They smiled at him sympathetically.
I am Joshua Benson. This is my wife, Nellie. These are our bodies in these other 2 coffins.
I don't understand.
Oh, you will. Look, here in this coffin. See? It's my body, isn't it?
It looks just like you.
It is me. The earthly me, I mean.
Oh.
And now, this one is Nellie.
You mustn't be so upset. You'll soon be used to the idea.
We're really dead? All 3 of us?
Why, of course. You died yesterday morning. You slipped and fell and hit your head.
Yes. Yes, I remember.
It's taken you until now to become aware of things again. Death is a great shock, you know.
But where am I? What is this place?
This is the mortuary chapel at the cemetery. They'll be coming for your body soon to bury it.
Joshua and I were killed 2 nights ago in an auto accident. But they aren't going to bury us until tomorrow.
I never dreamed death would be like this. Why, I can still see and hear. I can breathe. My heart still beats.
Oh, not really. You're used to those things, so they let you think there hasn't been much change until you've had a chance to get over your shock.
They? Who do you mean?
The ones in charge. You'll know more about them soon. Mr. Benedict will be coming for us, and I expect he'll take you along, too.
Mr. Benedict? Who's he?
The guide. He stopped by last night just to tell us not to worry and to wait for him here. He'll take us on to the place where we go next.
I see.
Someone's coming. Come back here, out of the way.
4 men. And Jack and Susan.
Oh, they've come to take your body away to bury it.
All right, men. Take it easy now. That's it. All lift together.
No, they can't bury me. I'm not dead. I can't be. Jack, Susan, listen to me. It's Gregory, your Uncle Gregory. They're gone. They didn't hear me.
Because you're dead. The dead can't communicate with the living. It just isn't possible.
But it must be. All my life I've worked to establish such communication. Now I have so much to tell the world. The people I've worked with. I must find some way to communicate with them. I must.
Are you ready?
Oh, you feeling better, Mr. Raymond?
This is Mr. Benedict. He's come for us.
Yes, it is time. We must go.
But I can't go. I've got to tell people. The people I work with. I've worked so hard to find the truth, and now
It may not be. There can be no communication. Now, Mr. Benson, Mrs. Benson.
Yes.
It is time.
Oh, yes, Mr. Benedict, we're ready, but Mr. Raymond here is coming with us, isn't he?
It is impossible. He is doomed to stay here on Earth.
What do you mean? What are you saying?
That is your punishment. To remain forever a spirit that moves unseen and unheard among men. It is the punishment of all who murder and die unrepentant and unconfessed.
Oh, no.
He's a murderer? I can't believe it.
That is not for me to say. Come, we must be going.
No, wait. You've got to take me with you. I can't stand it being here, seeing, hearing as if I were alive and not able to make anybody see or hear me. I have to go with you. I have to find out what comes next.
It may not be.
But you've got to take me. If I confess, if I repent, will that make a difference?
It may. I cannot promise.
Then I do confess. I killed my brother John. I pushed him off the cliff. I'm sorry now, but it seemed so important then that I just had to do it.
You are confessing to your brother's murder?
Yes, I killed him. I admit it. Now take me with you. You can't leave me here. You can't.
Gregory Raymond, listen to me. You're under arrest for murder. You understand? Under arrest for murder.
What are you saying? I'm dead. We're all dead.
You're not dead. You're very much alive. And you're under arrest. These two people are witnesses to your confession. Now come along with me.
No, you can't arrest me. Don't you understand? You can't arrest a dead man. And I'm dead. Dead!
Was Gregory Raymond dead? Or was he alive? Well, the doctor said he was alive. For you see, when his nephew found that the fall had only knocked Gregory unconscious, a strange scheme came to him. And with the aid of 3 coffins and 3 clever wax dummies that looked exactly like corpses, plus several excellent actors, he really made his Uncle Gregory believe he was dead. In fact, Gregory became so convinced of it that when they told him he was really alive, he wouldn't believe them. To this day, nothing can convince him he isn't really dead. It's probably the strangest punishment a murderer ever had. Though I did know another man who went... Oh, you have to go? Well, perhaps you'll drop in again soon. Just look for the house on the other side of the cemetery. The house of Dr. Weir.